Monsters are dangerous, and just now, kings are dying like flies.
I am the king!
Fuck the king. Knowledge is power.
Joffrey, Cersei, Walder Frey.
Wow. Welcome to the Showboys podcast. We're back with another Throwback Thursday of What's Game of Thrones. Season 4. We're on season 4, boys. We made it.
Halfway,
as Chad said.
We're really like technically kind of more than halfway because the last
Yes.
two seasons don't really count as a full season. So,
In my heart, we are 2/3 of the way.
yes,
Nice.
that seems right.
Yeah.
Two things. One, the Hodor gets me every time. At the
Yeah.
end of that.
You're not even there yet, though. You're not even
No.
there yet. I just love how this song just continuously like pieces itself together for you.
Yeah.
I've definitely started to understand more and more references as we've gone along here. But the second thing, I had a thought the other day about this Throwback Thursday series that we're doing.
Hodor.
We're doing Game of Thrones, which I think is great because it's an iconic show that I've never seen. We're gonna do Mr. Robot next, which is an iconic show that Chad's never seen. And I got an idea for a third Throwback Thursday. See, that's a lot of T's right there. Third Throwback Thursday, but
What is it?
the third one, it's
The one.
got to be Breaking Bad because Nick's never seen Breaking Bad.
Oh, wow. I gotta be honest. I feel like maybe The Sopranos should come before Breaking Bad. Just saying.
Because Mike and I haven't seen The Sopranos.
Yeah.
No, Breaking Bad for sure.
Well, is that a rule? Is it always got to be two have seen it and one has not? Do you think one of these would be successful if there is one who has seen it and two who have not?
Yeah,
That's a
that's an
good
interesting.
question.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question.
Because I guess if we did that, all three would fit that ratio.
The problem is that it would work if the one person who has seen it multiple times, which
Yeah.
probably is rarely any show. Maybe Mr. Robot for Mike, but you've seen Mr. Robot, so that's kind of irrelevant. But I've only seen Breaking Bad, I think, once all the way
Yeah,
through.
same.
Here's the thing, though. If we did Breaking Bad, I might as well not have seen it because Mike is like a savant when it comes to Breaking Bad. He just knows all of it.
Does he? Okay.
I don't maybe I don't know. I maybe
That'd be a
Yeah.
nice because that's a short one too, right? Is it like 5 seasons?
it's a fiver.
Yeah.
I thought it was a 4.
No, Mr. Robot's a 4.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad's a 5.
Yeah, Breaking Bad's a 5.
And then Game of Thrones is for in your guys' terms a 6 with a 2 epilogue apparently.
Dude, I cannot wait for the finale for season 6. I can't wait for it. I literally,
Oh, yeah.
I might
It's like
just
what
go
we're
watch
building
it before I start the next season.
I thought about doing that because it's like the week that I don't watch anything while we're waiting. I thought about watching ahead and then rewatching. But yeah, I decided not to do that because I didn't want to get too far ahead.
Man, there's so many other things. I was just talking to my neighbor again about this tonight. Like my list of things I need to do, one for the podcast, but then two just for like entertainment for my own self, like is so much I don't even remember what's on it. Like
Yeah.
in the last 2 weeks, I've made a lot of progress. I watched Stranger Things season 4, just wrapped up Triangle Strategy for the second time today.
Yep.
We wrapped up Game of Thrones season 4 last night, and I'm like, man,
Champion.
I feel so accomplished right now. And then I thought about, like, I saw a post about episode 6 of The Boys.
Yeah, you're like, that's looming
I
over
was
the
like,
horizon.
oh yeah, I forgot. I have to watch that. And then BioSiv's Facebooking me yesterday. He's like, oh man, I'm about to finish up Ozark, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to finish that. Like, there's
I gotta finish Obi-Wan. Trying to
haven't
keep
even
up there.
started that. Like, oh geez, there's so much.
It's all over. And there is, and speaking of so much, I text this to Chad because we're texting buddies while we watch the seasons
are.
here. We
Yeah.
leave you out of most of it, Mike.
Yeah. Well, Nick leaves me out of all text, period, and
Yeah.
conversations.
I text everyone else independently, separately around Mike. But there is so much that happens in this season. I forgot. I didn't
Oh, yeah,
expect
dude.
half the stuff that happened.
Yep.
I was like, holy crap, that happens now. I was
Yeah.
like, geez, we're just moving right along here. Kind of.
I'm with you. Even though I've seen the show multiple times, like if you would have asked me at the beginning what season they attack the wall in, I would have been like, yeah, that's like 5 or 6, maybe. not 4. But yeah, I felt that way multiple times through this season. I was like, holy crap, I did not realize this happened so early. But
well, there's that. But then it was like, then here comes Stannis and all his horses, and I'm
Yeah,
like, what is
yeah.
happening? Like,
Yeah.
I forgot this even happened. I'm like, they just booked it up there. But before we get too deep into it, we did just want to kind of post a quick note here. We do have our website that is now live, and we are
Oh.
actively refining, working, tweaking, and just making it better all the time. But that's where we will start kind of pushing everyone because that will be a nice central place to kind of get everything Showboys. Obviously, the Discord is the place to be basically live with us all day long. Me and Mike, Chad pops in and out. But yeah, check it out, showboysmedia.com.
I'll be putting
very excited to put
the
out
text up on the screen here for you guys.
Splash it. I posted it out to the live feeds. Other than that, obviously, we want to shout out our top tier patrons, Yusuf H and Old Bimbo, our Old Bim Boy. Thank you so much for being top tier patrons, and of course, thank you to all our other patrons. Greatly appreciated. Definitely helps us out. Right now, we're kind of saving up a nice pool of monies to do some cool podcast stuff here. Probably in the second half of the year, just gonna hit it hard.
Yeah,
we got the 100th episode approaching very fast.
that's right.
This is episode 94. It's coming much more quickly than Mike wants to realize. But
it still is crazy that, well, one, I think it's crazy that we've been doing this for almost 2 years now, but on top of that too, well, I mean, these episodes are just our numbered episodes. We have all of our companion series and newscasts and stuff, but I mean,
gaming
and our gaming stuff, but like our main series having 100 episodes out, that just seems
pretty
like
lit, bro.
Yeah. I think we'll do something fun for episode 100, maybe like a Q&A type segment or focused episode. I'll create a channel in our Discord.
You mean Truth or Dare?
Yeah, where you can submit any questions you might want answered by any of us on the show. Hopefully we can get some of our recurring guests and friends of the show to pop in and have some fun with us. But yeah, man, go check out our website. I'm excited about it. It's turned out great. Yeah.
Doing it big. But yeah, with all that out of the way, I say we kind of just tear into it. But first, I think we're going to start this episode off a little different. And I think it's a good mid-series check-in because I realized this while catching up on the Histories and Lore, which is the Blu-ray bonus content, which you can find on YouTube.
Yeah.
That just does a great job kind of explaining in the peripherals what's happening. Basically gives firsthand accounts, narrations from all our main characters on different events and elements, houses, what have you, here in Westeros and the wider Game of Thrones world. Well, what I realized in listening to season 3, and obviously it's really prevalent building up here in season 4, is just essentially the map, right? Spatially, Westeros, where everybody's at. We have a lot of characters moving around the board. There's a lot of people going places. They get there, they fail, and they kind of just have to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
We have people just like showing up in places they're normally not, right? We have especially Stannis. Stannis goes from
Yeah, dude. Comes out of nowhere.
Dragonstone. He goes first. He goes to Bravos, right? So you're like,
Yep.
where's that, right? And then he just shows up north of the wall. So I have a map here that I found that is very nice.
I am curious because I thought there was a map in that new book. Is Bravos in Essos?
Yeah, Bravos is in Essos.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And this doesn't particularly have Bravos on it or in it. This is more kind of like a political map.
Yeah.
Of Westeros. So, but Bravos, since we're mentioning it, it's like kind of right up over here. And the narrow sea is very narrow. It's very narrow.
I would hope.
Between Essos and Westeros. So it is a quick trip for people to get over there. Now, the thing I didn't realize, right, that really got me thinking, I was like, Stannis, Dragonstone, right here on these islands.
Right.
King's Landing's like in this giant Gulf Bay.
Yeah.
I never realized that he just kind of sailed. He's just like trying to get it. He just doesn't. And they're sitting here trying to deal with him, and he's just right over here. I just did not realize how close they were.
Yeah.
The biggest thing for me is, I guess in my mind, King's Landing was like down here and Dragonstone was up here. I just did not realize how central King's Landing was to everything.
To be honest with you, I always thought King's Landing was not as far south as Dorne. I knew Dorne was down there,
More
but
like
I
Storm's
thought it was
End.
probably that's probably where I thought it was. Maybe even below that, Mistwood or whatever. I thought it was like way down there. So it's interesting that it's all the way up there.
Yeah.
Is Storm's End? Is that where Lysa is?
No, she's in the Reach, which is the green one right next to it.
Oh, okay.
Or I'm sorry,
no,
the Eyrie.
Lysa's in the Eyrie, which is
okay.
Eyrie,
What's
which is
in
the way.
Storm's End then? I forget.
Storm's End. I don't know that we've seen Storm's End on the show yet, but that is the ancestral house of Robert Baratheon.
So
right. Okay, that makes sense.
That's where that's where the island of Tarth is, for one, where Brienne of Tarth is from. Secondarily, that is where the Baratheon brother, who gets it ran through by the Shadow Baby.
Renly?
Renly Stark. I believe that scene took place kind of up here on the coast of up here. That's where he kind of was making camp.
That makes sense.
Right. And the whole Onion Night thing that we learned where he busted through the blockade with onions, that was happening at Storm's End, right?
Okay. Because I could have sworn that I've heard Storm's End quite a few times.
Yeah, you've heard it. Yeah, you've heard it. And
we
haven't seen it yet. I don't know.
That makes sense.
Honestly, I don't know that we ever see it, to be honest with you.
But
it's referenced many times. I don't think we do. Yeah.
Yeah, and Storm's End is what Stannis held during the rebellion, and he was upset that his brother
Renly
Robert gave it to Renly. So this is kind of Renly's domain, and that's hence the stag.
Right, and then Pike,
Stannis is kind of the one-off bastard here, where he's like, oh, you just get Dragonstone, a castle in Robert's domain,
right?
So that's why he just feels completely shafted.
Yeah.
So Pike is where the Greyborns are, right?
Yep.
And then Casterly Rock obviously is the Lannisters. Highgarden is the Tyrells, yeah?
Correct. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, and then Dorne is where Oberyn's from.
Yes. Yep.
All right, cool.
Man,
and then see the twins down there.
So proud
River
of you,
Run. That's where your least favorite scene in the whole series occurred. We're up here at the twins.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. Okay.
I do want to point out though, real quick. We'll get into it more in the episode we do for it, but dude, there's an absurd amount of parallels to triangle strategy in Game of Thrones, including Twinsgate or whatever looks exactly like the twins. It's like absurd how similar it looks.
Yeah. By the way, shout out patrons. Be ready for a new episode. We're recording Sunday. And if you're not a patron, go sign up so you can get our Patreon exclusive episodes. Chad and I are going to be talking about triangle strategy for the third time on this podcast. A triangle of episodes about triangle strategy.
Yes.
If you will.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So perfect.
Yeah, lots of parallels between that game and Game of Thrones for sure. And now that you mention it, like Twins Gate, it even like
dude.
looks exactly like it.
It looks identical.
So great.
Yeah, and then just kind of, they talk about the North, right? How big the North is, and the North is truly large. I don't think it's quite as big as all the other ones combined as they kind of claim, but it's pretty darn close.
It looked
Yeah.
close. Yeah, I was just gonna say that because the map doesn't make it. Because I think in this this season that what's his face says that it's like twice
Yeah.
the size of everything else or whatever. But it is
like,
big, yeah, for sure.
Takes him out in the middle,
Bolton.
or like on the hill, and he's like 700 miles that way and 400 miles that way and 300 miles that way. It's all the North.
Yep.
Speaking of them, the Boltons, here's the Dreadfort, right? They were or are and were the second best house in the North, right? Now that the Starks are kind of not the number one, they are not number one. But Dreadfort, just love that place. I like it in the opening. It's kind of got that really just old school like fortress castle look to it, and the flayed man. I love that sigil of theirs.
Yeah, dude, what a brutal. Like, I had to look up if that was an actual thing or if this is like a fantasy element, flaying people. I think it might be an actual thing that they did. But what a brutal, like, even when they show the dude in the season that's flayed, I'm like, my gosh, like, why?
What's like, you gotta keep tradition alive or something. What's he say that's 100% psychotic?
Yep.
Yeah, those guys are crazy. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to throw the map up, talk about that a little bit. Obviously the wall way up here, and this came from the histories and lore from season 3, but the neck, this is something that really kind of sneaks its way in and is easily missed. But the neck is where Bran's 2 companions are from, our mysterious brother and sister.
Right.
I was wondering where they came from.
Yeah, so they come from the neck, and this is basically where the continent is connected. But it's all swamplands through here. And I was looking at the map and I was like, okay, well, why couldn't Rob just like ride his ass like around the river's mouth? But apparently it's all swamp. It's very not traversable. So the twins, basically you're on there. Here's the King's Road on this side of the rivers, and this is just where you cross to get to Castle Rock. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But the neck is just like the swampland, and there's Moat Cailin. That's what
that's where
the
Boltons
boy used the trick in to get there, and it's right on King's Road too. So it's just like in a crappy spot, but it's kind of convenient. It's an important spot to hold.
And this does clear up the Stannis thing for me too, because Dragonstone, at least the way you were pointing, Bravos is not that far from Bravos, especially if the Narrow Sea is as narrow as you claim. And then Bravos is up towards the north, so it wouldn't have been that far of a shot to go around the wall. And
correct.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a far sail, but they book it up there. And let me see, I can get.
But I do think that they did a good job showing that he's like busy sailing throughout the season, because he doesn't have a whole lot going on throughout the season, really.
Yeah,
you see him occasionally in some random location.
You get the super awkward scene of the Lady in Red and his wife while the Lady in Red's taking a bath.
Yeah. Their interactions are always so bizarre.
Super awkward scene.
Bravos.
Okay.
Dragonstone, King's Landing.
So it's like just under halfway, or maybe like 30% of the way to the wall.
Yeah, and this map's particularly interesting just because it gives us some like idea of like just like where the mountains and like forests are.
And they always said the Essos is way bigger than and it looks
it's
like
huge.
Yeah.
And here's all those mountains that we see kind of in the opening that sits around Slaver's Bay, and that kind of protects them from the wide open plains where the Dothraki are. This is like kind of forest, which is interesting. And this is this part of Essos is more like
Westeros.
Yeah, around the Narrow Sea.
So where? Oh, okay. I see Bravos, the little dude holding the sword. Okay, yeah.
Yep, and like the area up in the mountains, but then Castle Rock is protected from the north by these mountains as well. And I think I get confused what's said in the lores and histories and what's said in the show
The
itself.
show itself, yeah.
But Tywin notes, like, I think it's in the histories and lore, their one cousin holds like a fort that protects the mountain range from the north. So just really cool how they kind of piece the world together. And
Yeah.
when you kind of dive into it this way, it answers a lot of just like weird questions like one might have in terms of like why are they doing this? Why didn't they just kind of do that? So it's a really
It is super
well
cool.
thought out world.
Yeah, it really is. It's super cool that all that is put together in a way, because it could be very lazy to just throw this all together and then the map doesn't really make sense. Like why do
No.
but the fact that it's layered like that is so cool. Did
Yeah.
you so you listened to the season 4 histories and lore?
I started to, and I
Okay.
didn't get all the way through.
That's my favorite one out of all of them, primarily because Oberyn's in it multiple times. So
Yeah.
and I could listen to him talk all day long.
Right.
What a character.
Oh man, so good.
It's fantastic.
What a demise.
It's crazy
Also-
how short he was here. Like, I think he's just such an impactful character. And then you just don't. I forgot. Like, he basically showed up for a season, then was gone.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Mike. Granted, the Red Wedding did hit me in the gut, but Oberyn's death hit me in the gut way harder because I loved him from the second he was on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was like 1,000 times more predictable than the Red Wedding.
Yeah,
Like I was like, okay, yeah, he's doing the typical thing where instead of just killing the dude, you're gonna go have your little monologue, and then the guy's gonna end up killing you instead. And
yeah. See, I didn't get that feeling out of it. I think it's primarily because he's such a badass fighter when he comes out. Like you don't
Yeah.
expect him to be as good as he actually is.
the fight was awesome.
Dude, I love, one of my favorite fights in the show. So yeah, I don't know. I was like, yeah, he's just gonna kill him and move on, and hopefully he's gonna kill Tywin next, and work his way down the list. But yep,
Yeah,
not the case.
It's very Princess Bride like.
Yeah,
Except it didn't end the same way.
right.
But even having that hunch of like, okay, this outcome is going to flip on its head. I didn't expect the exploding head.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I think-
geez, that was crazy.
Dude, I think the most like, yeah, that's a jarring image seeing his head pop like that. But the most jarring for me, at least, is like when he gets hit the first time and all his teeth go flying out. I'm like, oh, dude, so bad, so bad. Go ahead, Nick. I interrupted you.
No, it's fine. I mean, I think to me, just the craziest thing is just like how I'm taking everything in on like a second watch, and half of it's familiar, half of it's kind of not, right? There's still like surprises. But that like Mike, like on the second watch, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I think even the first time it has that typical trope of like, oh, he's doing his song and dance and it's gonna flip. But what they do is they top that. It's like that's not where they're trying to subvert you. Where they get you is like he doesn't just like kill him. He like grabs his skull,
Turns his head to jelly.
thumbs in his eyes,
Yeah.
and he's saying what he wanted him to say. Like it's just insane.
Yeah.
And just like explodes his head. And old Miss Sand,
He literally blows his mind.
blows his mind.
Confession.
And his girlfriend, what's her name? Something Sand.
I don't know. Great reaction though.
Fantastic.
Dude,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's like the ice on the cake, because like they end that entire episode with just like her scream, and it's just like exactly what someone would do, because like it's
looked
horrific.
and sounded so genuine.
It did. It really did. Yeah, she's a great
like she
actress.
was
I think
legitimately like frightened or shocked by something that happened.
Do you know? Well, Chad, you've seen Obi-Wan. She's in Obi-Wan.
Yep. Yeah, I noticed that. What I didn't pick it up. I think I might have picked it up in like the second episode she was in, maybe, because I didn't pick it up right away. But yeah, she looks a lot different in Obi-Wan for sure.
Yeah, when she's in the uniform, I didn't pick it up, but then once she got out, I was like, okay, I see it now. But yeah, that was like, those are my takeaways. Just like the mountain, just like crushing his skull, like this way they play that out. And you're kind of like thinking like, here's this brand new character. He's in the whole season. He's pretty like central.
Yeah.
And he's just like calling it out, like Tywin, like pointing
Yeah,
the spear at
pointing it-
Tywin.
oh,
Like
man,
he's just
so
like,
good.
let's talk about this.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, I'm just gonna crush
Maybe-
his skull. And
Yeah.
then she
He
has
should've
just like
done-
the best scream.
Oh yeah, he should have done more stabbing and less talking.
He had to have.
I think that, like, honestly, he just got cocky, man. He won that
Oh, yeah.
fight, like,
Oh, yeah, dude.
straight up. Like, when he comes out twirling the spear originally,
So
I was
good.
like, holy shit, dude. Like,
Yeah.
he's like
where the
slicing
hell
his
did this come from?
calves with
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
spear hook.
Knocking his helmet off and stuff. I'm like,
So
oh my gosh.
agile.
Even
Yeah, it
Jamie
was-
like looks over, like shocked at how good of a fighter he
You
is.
got this.
And then I
gonna
really,
live.
Yeah,
Tyrion's like, all right, this isn't so bad.
yeah,
So
I
looking
love
pretty
the
good.
build up though because Tyrion's like, oh my god, I'm gonna die, and Jamie's like, I've
Yeah.
never seen him fight, I don't know, and he's
Yeah.
like, oh god, help me.
yeah. And then their discussion, like right before he goes out, he's like, "You shouldn't drink. That looks like light armor." He's like, "I like to move around." He's like, "You shouldn't drink before a fight." He's like, "Always drink before a fight." But what I really like about the whole Oberyn fight is, yeah, he gets his head popped open, right? But he had poison on his spear, which I think is so cool and very video gamey to have like poison on his spear, and that's what's like eating away at the mountain at the end there.
Yeah.
So I love that little touch that even after, and they talk about it a little bit in the History of Lores thing, that's like a Dorm thing to put poison on. He like knows all the different poisons. They mention it a couple times in the show.
Yeah. So what would have happened, like legally, if they both died as a
Yeah.
result?
Yeah.
Like, do they have to die
Well-
like in the arena, or like who dies first? Or
I really like the idea of it, because you'll notice that even though they really don't explain the rules of the trial by combat, you can tell that there are rules. Like his spear gets snapped in half, somebody tosses him another spear, nobody's bats an eye at it. So there's like obviously a rule that you have to have a weapon.
I thought about
Yeah.
that too, because I was like, well, I guess it's fair game to just get a new weapon. Like
Yep.
being disarmed isn't a problem.
Right.
It definitely seems like, so like technically, the mountain, right, presumably would die from those wounds, more or less, right? So the
Right.
fact that he crushed his skull before he died, whoever dies first, so like it's legitimate death.
Yeah.
So I think that's like the rule. So I mean, unless it was, I mean, it's not like a race with like
They-
vehicles where it's like,
they-
ooh,
they
it
have-
needs
Yeah.
to die with like
Yeah, yeah,
camera. Like, no, that
Yeah.
dude died first.
Yeah. There's like a death grace period, so if the mountain can last like 48 hours before dying
Yeah.
of the wounds he succumbed, then he still wins.
Yeah,
Man.
but that what was that episode? Was that 9?
That was
no,
like 8.
8.
I
that was
think.
8. Yeah, yeah.
And then
Um,
9 just completely doesn't touch anything except for the attack on the wall, which was
Yeah.
pretty rad.
Drop the scythe on him. Favorite
Oh,
part.
Oh,
hands
that was
yeah,
so
dude.
cool.
Wall scythe. Yeah,
Yeah,
just like swipes
the
him off the wall.
Yeah. I love
I
their
remember
scream.
the first time I saw that, I was just so blown away. I was like, that is the coolest shit ever.
Yeah.
Just this giant thing, just anchor, just like,
Yeah.
I was like,
I
man.
mean, no one would be able to scale the wall. I mean,
Yeah,
just
it's
have
br- it's
like
really
4
brilliant.
of those across the entire
Yeah.
length of the wall. No one's ever going to get past that.
Yeah.
And they do such a good job, like contextualizing like the height of the wall, how like the defenses work, because they're doing the whole thing where they're shooting the arrows up and they just can't make it because like a normal person can't just do it. But then obviously, like if you're a
Dude,
giant, you
The
could just
Oh, I
giant
love the- dude, I love
arrows,
the
like,
giant arrow,
sending that
bro.
one dude through the ceiling and like 100 feet
Yeah.
in the air. That was
and then
awesome.
into Castle Black on the other side.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude. That
Just
I
was-
just
lands
like
on it.
I like the first one that he shoots better, because like the smaller arrows aren't doing anything, and then it like rips the roof off first before he hits the next dude with the neck. I'm like, dude, this is so good. And I absolutely despise and I can never remember his name, but he used to be like the commander of the Gold Cloaks. And now
yeah,
he's,
that guy
can't
is
stand
such
that
a
dude.
turd.
And he's like, Jon Snow's like, there's giants down there riding mammoths. He's like, there's no giants. It's like a wives' tale or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
dude, like
You think
then
they
he-
care about 4-inch cold rolled
Yeah.
steel?
Yeah.
I also love how he then just goes and hides in like the meat cooler.
Yeah,
meat
with the
room.
female and newborn
And the
child.
baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That dude's such a turd. That's
Man,
a perfect
but
word.
Sam stepping it up, just being an epic like reloader of the crossbow, and
dude, he
like
really stepped it up in that. Like even when Gilly comes back and she's banging on the wall, and he like freaks out on Pip or whatever. He's like, "Open the fucking door, Pip."
Yeah.
He's like,
I never heard you
I've never
swear."
heard you swear before.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, so good.
That'd be like Mike. That's Mike. Like if he ever swears at us,
Yeah.
like, okay,
Like,
dude.
I feel a lot of parallels with Sam. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I just am Sam.
Yeah. But not to jump too far ahead, but the thing that I didn't realize is like how many important deaths happen in this season. Like there's a lot of death in this season.
So I was thinking about that because at first I was gonna like cold open with just like a sad like more intro.
Yeah.
But there was just too many to go through. It would
Right.
half the episode.
Yeah.
And the way I think about it is last season and like other seasons, they have these like really like important but also like sad, unexpected deaths, right? Where like Mike doesn't even want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Where, you know, no one really likes the fact that Ned died, but we just have to deal with it because it happened in season 1.
Right.
I'm about to turn into that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle triggered meme if you just keep like
Yeah.
going on about this.
So there are those deaths, right, in Game of Thrones, but then there are these other deaths that are not earned, but like they're just like great character, but you know we get it. Like
Yeah. Time to
their
go.
death meant something more to a different character, right?
Right.
It progresses another character so much further. Whereas like, sorry, Mike, the Red Wedding, you know, where, you know, what's his face killing all of them in his stupid twins keep.
Yeah.
Like that dude just sucks. Like that
Yeah.
dude just flat out sucks, kills a bunch of great characters. Whereas here, you know, we're getting Tyrion and Tywin, right? There's been seasons of that just like building, but also we get the Mountain, who is relatively new, but we also get Oberyn, who is relatively new. The Mountain's been mentioned a ton of times. He's been in a couple scenes, but the deaths in this season are just kind of more very driven for the story. Like they're really moving the story at this point. And that's the other thing about this season, kind of going back to like how much happens in this season. The story just like pivots. And Chad and I were texting about how many character arc like pivot moments there are in this season in the middle of this in the series.
Yeah. There really is. Especially if you've seen it all the way through and know where we're going with most of these characters, you can see that a lot of these pivot points are right in this season. So it's super cool to watch through again. But yeah, it was just like I think it was the wall thing where like Pip dies and the other scruffy dude, like he dies. And I'm like, geez, dude, I like did not realize all these people died so in this season. You know what I mean? No. My only thought was like, I know Oberyn dies and I know Joffrey dies, but I totally forgot Tywin dies.
Rejoice!
Yeah.
Hands to the air.
Joe says we need a memoriam slide, and I was literally thinking that as Nick was talking about it. It's like, I need to get like a...
Oh my God, I forgot Joffrey died in episode 2.
How can you forget? That literally was the saving grace of this series.
And they deliver it right away for you.
Yeah,
right away.
I figured.
Well, because they know. They're like,
yeah,
no one's ever going to watch the show again because we keep killing out all the likable characters. We should probably kill Joffrey because he's a giant scumbag.
So like the half of the audience that were like, hold on, it's like, we are not watching season 4. Then everyone that watched got to season 2, like, guys, watch the first 2 episodes of credit. It'll be okay. We promise.
Yeah, I thought that was super, super bold of them to do it in that second episode because it has not happened anywhere in the season yet, right? A major death that early. Yeah. It's just it's super interesting but that whole episode I could watch that episode like on repeat forever because the like spectacle of the wedding, and it's just like I think it was Nick that was like, it's just a big set piece. The entire episode is one set piece.
It was easier to watch them when they were coming out weekly, because they at the end of every episode they have like the creators talk about the episode, and they go through like usually 2 or 3 like key scenes
Yeah.
and recap them from like a creator side. And they talked about that scene, and Mike, I thought you would appreciate this. That scene is one shot with many cameras, so it's one continuous sequence where basically they have everything happening at once, like one after the other. So there was no like cuts and breaks. So like if you're watching that scene in the background, you see like Jamie lining up for his next conversation. You see Joffrey. Everyone's just like continuously moving.
Yeah.
And it's made with a lot of cameras, obviously. So it's not like a one shot thing, but it's one live scene,
Like,
which
yeah,
just makes it so alive.
That is super cool. That I can really appreciate that.
Yeah, because if you pay attention while you're watching that with that in mind, like they really do a job of like you're watching these two characters interact here, but in the background you see you move to those next, like they're showing them, and then next they're on the screen.
Yeah, I always, now that I'm like third or fourth watch, it's always nice to watch the other characters that you're really not focused on, specifically one that we'll talk about here. But like even like Tywin in the background, they're like all in character. They're all reacting how you would expect them to react in the situation, whatever's happening. So yeah, that does make sense that they did it that way though. Because that really answers how they stayed in their character for so long in the background. That's got to be difficult, but knowing that, and I did notice like when Brienne comes up and like bows, and Cersei was like, "Did you just bow?" And then she walks away. You can see like in the very corner, Cersei get up and then come around, and then that's when she goes to talk to her over like on the side of the way. I'm like, dude, that's so cool that you can see that in the background.
And I think they had mentioned like that is the only or one of the very few scenes where they have so many characters together at once. Because really after that point and leading up to that point, everyone's pretty scattered, like
right,
very high interaction point with a lot of main characters.
Yeah.
So Mike, you were just like clapping your hands and rejoicing.
Yeah, Joffrey, man. Finally, little
poor
turd.
kid, poor guy.
No.
That looked a horrible way to die.
Good. He's a horrible person who's inflicted that pain probably tenfold on characters in this show so far, like Sansa and Tyrion. So I do not feel bad for Joffrey one bit.
Who done it? Who did it?
We know who did it. You watched the show, didn't you?
But we want to know. Do you know?
Yeah, little finger, little foot,
and
the granny.
Okay, good.
Okay, so that's the character that I actually want to talk about because
Granny, savage Granny.
If you watch the wedding scene, and you'll totally, Mike, you probably totally missed it. I almost guarantee you did.
I did too on the second time.
She goes up to Sansa to talk to her, and she's like fixing her necklace. You see her take the thing out of the necklace and put it.
No way.
Yeah, and then as the camera pans to the wine as Tyrion's grabbing it later on, she's sitting right there where the wine cup is. But I'm like, dude, that is so cool that she fixes the necklace, takes the thing off, and then the rest of the scene, you can see that one of the jewels is missing off of the necklace, like plain as day.
Nice.
Plain as day. So I thought it was cool. They don't really build that mystery up as much as I wanted them to. Like it's like 2 episodes later, she's like, "Yeah, I did it."
Yeah.
Did you really think I'd let you marry that monster?
Right.
And that's where I realized I started watching at season 3 because I remember that at least being a week-long mystery, right? Like talking with everyone, like who killed him? Like to me, it was such a bigger like mystery. Like what is going on here? And that insane scene that we just saw. And to me, it felt like a season. But then you watch it again, and it's like the episode after Littlefinger reveals like his hand, and then the following episode, old forget her name, but Granny, she just basically was like, yeah, now go do your thing with Tommen.
Yeah.
I do. That is the kind of the big downside to binge watching Game of Thrones is that you don't have that moment. Like there are
Right.
things that happen in the show that I had to wait like a year and a half to find out what happened. Actually, you know what I mean? Mike's gonna
Yeah.
go like 2 weeks, and
Dude,
it's gonna be clear.
I watched all of season 4 well, I watched 8 episodes in 2 days.
Nice.
4
That's because we put the cap at like season 8. He
Yeah,
has to stop
4
watching
Yeah.
it work.
I watched 4 on Monday, 4 on Tuesday.
This week?
Yeah, no, okay, 4 on Monday, 5 on Tuesday, and then the finale last night.
Me
So the mystery of who killed him was just like basically played out in the length of a movie for
15
me.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I could imagine because Mr. Robot, not to go back to that, but that was a weekly release, you know. And there are a lot of mysteries and reveals in that show. So I totally feel your pain on just waiting and
Yeah.
just the anticipation of like, what the heck is happening?
Dude.
I could see this death, and I mean, there are so many things that happened so far in these 4 seasons to be like, what are they going to do after this? And I'm just like, all right, what next? Okay. Next.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that definitely downplays it a little bit, I think. But at the same time, I think that as a whole, the show definitely benefits from a binge watch, especially the 8th season. I think very much benefits from binge watching it. So it's like a double-edged sword. You're going to miss out on some things, but some things are going to make a lot more sense, I think. So
Yeah.
Well, the fact that the whole Littlefinger and the Tyrell granny, they're so minor, really, in this season. Like they're not like the focal point characters, and they really don't have a lot of screen time. So the fact that Joffrey, massive death, right? Huge death. Like everyone's wanting it. It finally happened, and it was pretty crazy. And they just happened in season 2 or episode
Choked on
2.
his pig pie.
I love Tyrion's comments about that.
Oh,
yeah.
But the thing about it is that when I watched that all these years ago, I think it was more confusing because I was like, wait, like, man, this big character dies, and it was just like Littlefinger and like
yeah,
her. Like, the question's like, why? Like, what's going on? But on the second watch, obviously, like, way more aware of it, and you're kind of understanding like everyone's motives going through all the motions, because otherwise, like, you're more focused on all these other character arcs that are happening this season, and this huge event happened because of 2 rather minor characters in this season.
Right. Yeah, I think that it's interesting because if any of the deaths in this season should have been predictable, it should have been Joffrey, because literally the 30 minutes leading up to his death, he's being like the most vicious son of a bitch that he's ever been on the show. And so you're like thinking like he definitely should die, but at the same time you're thinking Game of Thrones they don't kill the bad guys. Like that doesn't happen on the show. This is the first one, really.
I feel like every scene of Joffrey being a turd could be described that way. Like, wow, this is the worst we've ever seen this guy. What a scumbag. But yeah, I was shocked. Albeit I was super happy. But at the same time, I was like, oh wow, they just did that. Okay. Yep. Thank you, but I did not see that coming.
Not scared. They didn't need that character. They were just like, yeah, you know what? He's boring. All he does is torture people.
Yeah, like how many people can you torture? And like it's got to end at some point.
If they let him go on, like Sansa would have just killed herself.
Right.
Just
right.
But we need her alive, I guess.
But it's just so murky because you got randomly like the Fool shows up and he grabs Sansa and they run through the streets and like take off. Obviously, like I love that Tyrion was like, if I killed him, I would have hoped I wouldn't have been like standing there looking like an idiot.
Yeah,
like,
standing gawking at the cup.
Like clearly, I really would have liked to kill him, but
yeah. That whole sequence though, like the whole wine thing at the wedding, that's as difficult to watch for me as most of Tywin and Tyrion's interactions, where it's just like, dude, like how much more
Oh,
can this little
yeah.
dude take, man? Like he's gonna snap at some point.
Yeah.
Um,
and
I've
he
been on
does.
trial
Finally.
for being
Yeah.
a dwarf my whole life.
Oh, dude, that.
His rant.
Oh my god, dude, that's like
So
one of the
good.
best speeches maybe in television history. I love that entire. That's some of the best acting in the show. That the trial.
Yeah, I mean, him amongst many other people, like they were just
Right.
cruising through the awards on this show.
And I really appreciate, like, I know we're jumping freaking all over the place here, but I really appreciate that, like, Shay almost seems like she's a terrible actress in that scene, but she's lying, so she's playing the terrible actress thing. Like, she's not a bad actress. We've seen her multiple times throughout the show. She's a great actress, but during that sequence, she just seems like she's reading off a script, and I thought that was so brilliant because she really is probably reading off a Tywin script that he gave her, you know?
Yeah, I think at this point I started like live discording as these scenes were playing out in our Answer the Boys section. So like in all caps, rejoice, the end of episode 2 is amazing.
Yeah.
But during the trial, I was just like, wow, the betrayal of Shay. Why?
Yeah.
I feel like I had the same exact reaction as Tyrion. I was like,
yeah.
It's like watching SVU.
What are you doing? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All we needed was a dun dun.
Yeah.
The Law and Order. But yeah, I was just like, dude, why?
Yeah,
Why
I mean,
are you doing that? I mean,
yeah,
I know
it's
why,
awful,
but also
right.
like, but why? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I had to Google it. I just selfishly Googled it. I was like, did Shay love Tyrion? Right? If you Google that, you'll get like great Reddit threads on this. And the answer is yes.
Yes.
Ultimately, that like, yes, she did. While he made the hard decision and like broke her heart though, because he was like, you have to leave. Very, very complicated situation. So ultimately, like she just reverted back to the script of being a whore. And that's because I had to Google that, because in the bedchamber when she's like, you know, referencing Tywin, right? My lion. I'm like, well, what the heck? Like, did he like? Was it all just like? Because if we think back, when Tyrion was a child, they did the same thing to him. They made him think he was in love with a whore. That was his first, and they tricked him, and it was just a whore.
Yeah.
And this is the same thing, but it is like, was it? Was Tywin behind it the whole time? I mean, like, it gets
that's
your head
interesting.
going.
Yeah, it does. I never even put those two together, to be honest with you. I just always assumed that the way that they split off, he's very aggressive with their breakup. You know what I mean? Like, he's a dick, honestly. Like, he's like, you're a whore, you can't have my children, yada yada yada. Like, get away from me. He
ripped the Band-Aid off. So
right. So I just took it as that was her revenge for the breakup. But the Tywin thing does bring up an interesting, like, was this all set up from the get-go? Because if you remember, they picked her up in the Lannister camp during the war with Robb. So yeah, that's super interesting. But I did text you because I literally watched this quote like 5 or 6 times because it's so good. The watching your vicious bastard die gave me more relief than 1,000 lying whores is like the best line maybe in the show for me. Like he delivers that so good. Yeah, so good. He's staring right at Cersei as he's saying it. I just, oh man, I freaking love that scene. There is another quote that I really like later on in the show, but that one's like up there for me for the show.
Yeah, that was seething with hate for sure. I loved it. I mean, at some point you have to. Tyrion, the entire series so far is just rolled with these punches and just let all these comments and scenarios and situations just kind of like roll off his back. And at some point you have to think that he's going to break, and he finally did. And boy, was it like. He really broke.
Yeah. Yep.
But I mean, it's totally understandable. The dude's treated like scum, and it's sad.
Yeah.
And fun fact, that episode where he kills his father aired on Father's Day. So we are
Oh,
actually
did
not.
it really?
So,
Oh
and I
my
thought
God,
that was
that's
even more
great.
interesting that Father's
Because
Day
that's
was
right around the
literally
time we were watching it.
4 days ago, and I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what are the odds I would be watching this?
That's
Like
hilarious.
12 years later,
Right.
Yeah.
as a father,
Yeah.
like near
Yep.
Father's Day.
It
But
would
yeah,
have been even more crazy if you were watching it like on the toilet.
Yeah.
because I can now, because
Right.
of streaming, and I just
Yeah.
be sitting
Yeah,
there,
dude.
Yep.
man.
That would have been like so meta.
But yeah, aired on Father's Day. So happy Father's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Don't be a dick to your dwarf child
Yeah.
that you hate
Yeah.
that killed your wife or whatever. However many slights
Yeah.
Tywin had against him.
Very specific set of stipulations there, but make sure you don't do those.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
But all the way to the end, like Tywin is just such a great character.
Yeah.
And he just has so many facets to him, and even in those like final moments, he's just like, yes, like I wish you would die, but
Yeah.
you are my son. You are a Lannister. Blah blah blah. And
I
like,
just-
and even with Cersei in like a few episodes or scenes prior, like Tywin is kind of a broken record at this point, and like
Yeah.
his children who are just like really fed up with his shit have reached the end of their rope, and like Cersei was like, I am not marrying him, and Jaime's like, well, that didn't go through correctly, so I am not going to Castle Rock and doing all that.
Right.
And then obviously Tyrion's just like, I'm going to hit you with the crossbow, and I'm pretty sure that's Joffrey's crossbow.
It
It
was.
was.
Yeah.
And also, Cersei's like, by the way, I am really screwing my brother.
Oh, yes.
So-
Yeah. Yeah. And he doesn't
Yes.
believe it. I love it. I love it.
He's like,
He
no.
just has
Does
one.
he
like,
not believe
he's
it, or
like,
is he
no.
just in like extreme denial?
Extreme denial.
Yes,
Like
yeah,
he's
that's
like, those are
probably it.
legitimately just rumors.
Yeah.
There's just no way. But that was crazy. And then obviously she went to Jaime and was like, I just told him, let's do
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
But
right on the table.
the
But
last
the
time they
secret's
did
still safe though, because
Yep.
he died.
yeah. But the last time they did the thing on the table was actually on like the foot of the coffin of Joffrey
Yeah, dude.
in the
like,
sept
yeah.
in episode 3.
Like
Um,
what a way, because really coming off of season 3, like Jaime takes a very big turn towards the good in season 3, I think, at least.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
yeah.
he comes back season 4, and I mean, I'm sorry, he essentially rapes Cersei right next to her dead son.
his
like,
dead
what-
son,
like,
His
dude.
dead
what
son,
happened?
too. Like,
Yeah,
it's
but
like,
right,
yeah, we
right,
don't
right.
care. Whatever.
The
Yeah.
king, the like everything, just like
Yeah.
coffin,
Can we
middle
address
of the
the,
steppe, like the most holy place.
the
So,
most
yeah.
disturbing thing about that whole scene? Like, why they paint eyeballs on rocks and put them on their eyeballs? Like,
Yeah,
that's just
yeah,
so
yeah.
weird looking.
Yeah, we saw that.
It really freaks me out.
Yeah, we saw that, I think, with John Aaron, the very first
Yeah,
scene
yeah.
we see Jaime and Cersei. Yeah, it's there's some description behind it why they do that. It might be in the history and lore thing, or they might talk about it later on in the show. But yeah, I just that whole scene is really screwed up, because not only does it have like one of the best character interactions between Tywin and Tommen,
Yes.
as they're trying to discuss
Yeah.
what a good king is made out
Great
of.
talk.
Well, that's the first thing, because it's like, okay, dead Joffrey, everyone should be sad, but the time was just like, so Tommen,
Yeah, doesn't
you got
care.
a new job. Let's get down to business. Like, you're gonna need to marry, you're gonna need to rule. I'm gonna be hand of the king, which means
Yeah.
I'm in charge. Like,
Yeah.
let's talk business.
Right.
But it was
Forget
a
about Dead
cool
Boy.
scene though, like a mentoring, like bonding. I mean, just at a probably very inappropriate time. But
Yeah,
Right. She's like, you are such a dick. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But then,
Jamie's like, I got one of those. You want to see?
Yep.
in the last season 3 episode that we did, when we were talking about Jaime's kind of like endearing, kind of like turning the stone moments, right, that he had in season 3, I
Yeah.
did allude that he kind of like bounces back and forth.
He does. And it
season
seems to
four.
be, yeah.
He has his
still
moments
get-
with Brienne where it's
Yeah.
like he like gives her the armor. He's like gives her the sword. They name it. Those are all epic. But then we're gonna take that, one step forward,
Then
two steps back.
Cersei,
I'm gonna rape my
right?
sister.
Yeah, right.
But then he's like, all right, Tyrion, I'm gonna help you out. Like, gonna talk to Pops. We're gonna, not get you executed. Here's some wine. Okay, that didn't work out so well. Here's an escape. Get the heck out of here. Also, I still like banging my sister. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah,
yeah. That was a lot of him coming back from, not to justify that, but it was a lot of him kind of just finally getting back to King's Landing, trying to return to like some sense of normalcy, right? That we can all relate to.
Right.
And all of a sudden, like, she's like stiff arming him, right? And this, to me, it forwards his kind of like his confusion, right? His character development, because he's like, well, is this not what I'm about? Like, who is Jaime Lannister? And like, that's what he's kind of really battling in this season, obviously very drastically. Ugh.
Yeah, and I think it starts. Yeah, I think it starts though with Joffrey's like breakdown of him as they're discussing the like security at the wedding.
That's great.
Where he's like going through the book and he's like, somebody forgot to write down all your great deeds.
He's
love
the book.
There's still time, and he's like, for a 40-year-old.
Like
with
one-handed.
Yeah, one-handed 40-year-old.
He's poring over that book for most of the season, though. Like when Cersei comes to him after she talks to their dad, their father, he's standing there going over the book. Like, that's what he's. It's kind of like his rock right now. Like, he's trying to figure out, like, am I going to be like a badass Hand of the King, or am I just going to be like Kingslayer? Or am I going to like write the actual Kingslayer story, like from my point of view, because that's pretty badass. Like what I told Brian in the bathtub that one time, that was legit. I need to.
That was cool. Yeah, yeah. Maybe I should write that down.
Yeah. Joe says, I completely forgot this happened so early in the show. The beginning of season 4 was very packed full of important things. That's for sure. We see Bronn training Jaime.
Fantastic.
Yeah, love it.
Then we see Bronn marrying a highborn and no longer helping Tyrion out. He's like, sorry, bro.
Yeah. I mean, really, at the end of the day, if you think about it, like, yes, he did the trial by combat. In the Eyrie, right?
Yep.
That's where they first met. He can't be expected to do that every time this little guy gets into trouble. You know what I mean? Like, that's a one-time deal for me. I fought for you.
Yeah. And he's a sellsword. Like, it's very clear he has no allegiance except to money.
Right. Exactly. So I know like
odds.
a lot of I wouldn't do it again.
I mean, he made a great point.
I probably wouldn't have done it the first time unless it was like a dear friend or family member. Like, it's just some dude you don't even really know.
Right.
Well, even Tyrion said, he's like, well, we're friends. He's like, yeah, we're friends, and you've never really put your life on the line for me. So
Yep. Yeah, I knew like people were like confused why Bronn wasn't the one fighting there. I'm like, dude, you can't expect this dude to fight every time. Like, that makes realistic sense that he declined it. You know what I mean?
Right. Plus, it's just not. I mean, you already saw him fight on behalf of Tyrion, so like, show wise, I mean, it just why more of the same?
Yeah, and honestly, it makes the speech with Oberyn in the jail cell like that just that much more awesome when he like stands up, grabs the torch. She's like, I'll be your champion. Yeah. You're like, oh, sweet. Like, I don't know what you can do.
I'm in the perfect place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I do want to talk about Oberyn a little bit because it really like
Mando.
Yeah. I totally forgot he was Mando, to be honest with you. I really, from his first interaction at the brothel, which is just so badass, like he's like picking out the prostitutes and then he hears them singing the Lannister song. He's like, okay,
hey, hold on a second.
And just that whole scene where he walks up and he like holds his hand over the candle as he's walking. That whole sequence is awesome. I love like Tyrion walking in and he pulls the knife out and the blood squirts. He's like, "Oh, I heard there might be trouble," and he's like, But the speech after when they go out, that's when I really like fell in love with Oberyn. I'm like, dude, this guy has got a mission. Like he's here for a reason. He's got this story. He's got a sister that was killed by the mountain. He's got nephews and nieces that were killed by a mountain. If you listen to, they might discuss it later on in the show. The history and lores talk about it. How those kids were killed is brutal. Absolutely brutal. So just knowing that, like that introduction of the character is probably my favorite introduction of any of the new characters in the show, from that brothel scene to the speech outside of the brothel.
I'm pretty sure I just listened. That was at the beginning of the season 4 histories and lores, and that's the first thing. And I'm pretty sure something along the lines of the mountain smashed his nephew's skull into the wall.
Yep.
And then raped his sister with like the bloody hands of that.
Yep.
So it was
dashed, took the baby by the foot and dashed it against the wall, and then did exactly what Nick just said. And then they wrapped the kids up in Lannister clothes afterwards, which is probably like a no-no.
And presented them to Robert.
Yeah. And so just hearing that story and hearing he's got a little bit of a different story with how things happened with Rhaegar. If you notice, I don't want to talk about it too much quite yet, but he doesn't quite say what everybody else has been saying about the way that panned out. So I thought that was very interesting. But just the whole sequence where he's like, tell your father I'm here, and the Lannisters aren't the only ones that repay their debts. I'm like, dude, badass. Like, bring it on.
Like, he's kind of like an honorable guy too, because that's where Cersei's daughter was sent to Dorne, right? So he very easily could just be like, "Oh, we have a Lannister child over here. Maybe wouldn't it suck if she met the same fate?" It's like we don't kill children over here, or whatever he says.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite interactions when Cersei gives him the boat to send down. Where he's like, "We don't hurt little girls in Dorne," and she's like, "Everywhere in the world they hurt little girls," which is true. So I just it seems to me like every time he's on the screen, dude, I'm like just like gushing, like I heart emoji every time that he's on the screen.
Yeah, I won't repeat the things that you said about Oberyn in our text chat.
Very not safe for YouTube.
Yeah, don't repeat that.
Not gonna repeat that. But you bring up a good, interesting point about Cersei here. Right, and she always has she is just this character, and this is where I'm gonna start really talking up Cersei as we go into the next few seasons. But she's just like this really abysmal character that's just always up to something. She's like very selfish, right? Her and her kids, right? Obviously the estrangement with her brother, all the things, right? But then she delivers these very, very faceted lines where it's like everywhere in the world they hurt little girls, right? And that rings true obviously in this show. That kind of like really rings true in like our world. And like she just has these very impactful lines where it's like, is she right? Like is she not right? Like,
right,
what she says isn't necessarily untrue. Maybe the way she goes about things are a little twisted, but
she's like the Thanos of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, you really start to. That's funny you say that. You really start to kind of like question. And this is also, she's one of these characters, right? We'll call this out as like, this is where season 4 is a lot of characters turning in their arcs. Like they hit that like pivot point, and then there's also a lot of setup to where we're seeing the pivot points get built.
Right.
I guess her pivot point though really was where like she was going to kill herself and Tommen in the throne room. But I think that was the start of the pivot point. I think her pivot point has yet to come.
Yeah, it has yet to come. It's coming, but she does have smaller pivot points. Like I even see the after Joffrey's death when she's talking to Marjorie, and she's like here, the stuff that he did shocked me. Like I shouldn't say that, but it shocked me. So that's just like a little snippet of a pivot, because you really she's turning, and she knew that he was a vicious ass. You know what I mean? But she didn't show that leading up to that Marjorie discussion. Like you don't see that from her really.
Yeah, and she's slowly kind of rethinking her position, because obviously, like season 2, season 1, like she very firmly was like thought she had a handle on everything.
Yeah,
but obviously, I think she really started to rethink life when she was like, "Wow, I was about to kill myself and my son, right, over like nothing, like not do anything to like help our situation." And oh, thank God, like Dad showed up, right? And then obviously Joffrey dies. Here's Tommen like place, because she has the whole bit about how Marjorie's gonna tear at her, Tywin's gonna tear at her, and they're gonna shred him to pieces if I am not here. So like she's really rethinking like, why am I just this like helpless woman in this world, and why am I not like the bitch that just like wrecks everything?
And I think it's kind of, it's made worse with the like identity crisis she's going through right now, where she's not the queen anymore. She's not the, I mean, when she goes to talk to Pycelle at the wedding, and he's like, the queen said the food will go, and she's like, you're talking to the queen, and they will go to the kennels and feed the dogs, or you will. I'm like, okay, well, shit. And it's so weird because she's like, she's being so nice really at the wedding to most of the people. She's being kind of passive aggressive towards like Brienne and a couple other characters.
Well,
but then she gets over to Pycelle, and she's just lets loose. Like, here, you're going to feed the dogs. How about that?
Hyper awkward Brienne conversation between her.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
just like, you love him? And Brienne's just like,
doesn't
say
answer.
A word.
Doesn't
like,
say a
oh,
word.
God.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to die.
Yeah, so good.
I also loved how she told Tywin about almost killing herself and Tommen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She was just telling Tywin everything in this season.
Yeah.
He's just
I knew he was gonna die. No, I didn't know he was gonna die, but like he had to, because he knew all the secrets.
He knew all the secrets. Yeah.
But she's so right about Tywin, because she was like, if you would have looked at all at your family, like instead of just like think about your family, like if you would have just looked, it's all right there.
It's all right there. That's that I told you in season 1, like that was my big hang up with like Joffrey being Cersei and Jaime's. Like, how did Robert Baratheon not see that these kids look freaking nothing like him, and they look almost identical to Jaime? So what? Like, I get that he's supposed to be like the drunk dude that just doesn't really give a shit about anything, but but same goes for Tywin. Like, he has to know.
Deep down, he knows.
Deep down, he knows.
But he just puts on that front where it's just like, that's just silly. Like, the family, right? He places this idea of the family, like she was saying, above the reality of the family.
Yeah.
Because instantly he's always just ready to just capitalize on whatever the current situation is, regardless of like the actual context. Like, just like the Joffrey thing, like, oh yeah, dead Joffrey, my grandson, my eldest grandson, heir to the throne, blah, blah, blah. Hey, Tommen, let's talk shop.
Minutes later. Yeah.
Brutally murdered in front of everyone. Still a young
that was
child.
hard to see. So your brother, forget about him.
And I like that he literally like talks shit about Joffrey in that thing. He's like, he was not a good king. I gotta tell you, played out. He wasn't a good king. I'm like, geez, dude. Like, could you maybe wait till he's like buried or whatever you're gonna do with him? Send him out to sea and burn him, or whatever happens down here in the South.
I think they put him in the walls there, in the sept, something to that effect.
Just slap some dry roll around.
Carve Joffrey in it with like a knife.
Does Chad look like his pixel art on video for you too, or is it just
his connection's a little
that red filter on your video?
Am I all pixelated?
Yeah, you need to bump up your internet connection, kick off.
Okay, hang on.
Kind of cool. It's kind of
I might dip out for a second. So just continue talking.
Yeah,
what did I do? I made him leave.
You made him leave. Made him sad.
No, it looks cool.
But yeah, there's just a lot of pivot points for characters, and this is one I pointed out to Chad, right? And we have old Sansa here, right? We haven't really talked about her much, but Mike, did you pick up on her kind of like pivot point in this season?
Yeah, when she freaking saved Littlefinger.
That dude was so
Yeah.
toast, and then she was just like,
God, I was
I'm
so
gonna plug-
happy. I was like, yes, she's finally like speaking out and standing up for herself. And then she's like, psych. I have
And
Stockholm syndrome. I must protect all these people who are using and abusing me.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's literally the Theon of, the female
Well,
Theon right now.
But really, up until this point, Littlefinger has not used and abused her. Really, he kind of saved her ass by getting her out of King's Landing.
I'm thinking ahead of his intentions.
Yeah,
That
right.
he doesn't really know about. But I'm just like, he's gonna. I know what his plan is. I don't like it.
Do
Like,
you?
just send him through
Dude.
the freaking moon well thing, whatever they call
You're
it.
more beautiful
Moon
than your
door.
mother ever was, and I loved her. So guess what that makes you?
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
that was
he's-
another live Discord post during the episode.
You're like, quick fact check. How old was the Sophia
she
Turner?
not a minor? Because
Yeah.
that was very gross.
Yeah.
Fun fact
think,
about Sansa. Sorry, Chad, but if you
No, you're
remember
good.
back in season 1, she makes like her own dresses. That's like a skill that they taught her in Winterfell.
Yeah.
She was crafting in that scene in her chambers there, her new like badass like feathered dress that she wears at the very end where she steps out in the light and Baelish just like, oh my god.
Has
Yeah.
the amazing J.J. Abrams lens flare.
Yep,
Yeah.
had the lens flare.
And her,
but also
she dye her hair too in that scene. I think her hair's like dark now in that scene.
definitely looks much darker.
Yeah,
Kind of
yeah.
go with her like the black feathers and things like that.
Yeah. To match
but
her,
also-
her,
little boy
her
too
dark,
sensitive.
her dark black soul.
So she makes her own clothes, right? Her own dresses. But then the other bit about that is it has elements of what her and Cersei talked about, or at least elements of how Cersei wore her dresses, where it has a little bit of armor on them. And Cersei even gave the line to, I forget who it was, or I think it was about Marjorie, where it was like, you would do well to, learn the importance of some armor in your clothes. But like,
Yeah.
basically Sansa
Not
has
dressed
this
like
very
a skank. No, I'm just kidding.
right, not dressed like a skank. And here we have Sansa like stepping into her own, stepping into the light, JJ Abrams sunflare, and then you have like her in this very elegant but also slightly armored dress, right?
Yeah.
And this is kind of like this new Sansa that we're finally about to get to have,
Right.
because she's been quite unbearable for 3 seasons now.
Yeah, honestly, really, bro. Is she not? She to me is like, especially in the first season, she is unbearable to watch in the first season. Like, she's just the most naive, annoying human on the show.
Well, she's the anti-Ira, or
Right. Yeah. That's total different ends of the spectrum there for sure.
Can we talk
I don't
about
know. I
that?
just
Because
don't
that's
like her.
probably I don't want. No, we can finish the Sansa talk, but I got a place I want to go next.
Okay.
No, I mean, that's really a little bit about Sansa. Like, she's kind of has a turning point. Like you said, she actually stood up for herself and like made a play, right? And that's the other thing is like she made a Baelish play. Like, she's kind of been observing Baelish and listening to him babble all this time creepily at her. And finally, and just from like Chad and I's perspective, seeing it twice, like you see the layering here where she is starting this narrative that Baelish doesn't quite grasp, and you're like, does he know what she's up to? Does she know what he's up to? Like, who's the true narrator, right, in this dynamic here? And that's going to be fun to watch for you, Mike, because Baelish, right, master of just all the trickery, and then we have Sansa here, who's kind of new to the game, but like, who's got the better angle? We shall see.
Yeah.
I loved how like the lords were commenting on how weird Robin is.
Yeah.
You gotta get this kid outside, like get him off the teat, like let's go.
I mean, I was happy those conversations happened because that isn't normal. Good,
right?
Like, everyone's saying, I was like, that was weird.
Yeah. I was like crying, laughing so hard.
Yeah,
it's like finally.
He's a bizarre bizarre character, especially his like little. I
Smacked
think
him.
it's. I might be wrong. I think it's the season where he freaks out. Yeah, and she smacks him. Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
but just
The
this
Snow
freak out.
Castle.
Yeah, like
That was
Like,
that was kind
yeah.
of like one of her last like weak points where she just like in a stupid immature fit where she's like, "You ruined my snow
Yeah,
castle.
yeah.
I now have to start all over." And he's
Right.
like, "What?" And
Yeah.
then like they were both just idiots in that scene
Yeah.
because
Yeah, for sure.
I'm like, "Geez." But it was also so creepy because then like Baelish creepily just like kind of glides down the stairs, does the kiss, then you have
Yeah.
what's her face up on the balcony watching. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, this is
Yeah.
like
This is
you're in that weird."
Lysa's like, oh, I can't believe you just kissed that 14-year-old.
Yeah. The Eerie has like
A soap opera feel to it.
Yeah,
a soap opera feel, but also kind of like I don't know. The Eerie creeps me out. I don't know if it's like the way that it's all set up. It's like, I don't know. It's probably primarily the kid is just so unpredictably weird that like when Littlefinger comes, brings him the little glass bird, and he's like super excited. Littlefinger's here. I got this cool toy, and then he just throws it out the door, out the moon door, and watches it fly. I'm like, what the hell? What the hell is up with this kid? Like, he's got some deep mental issues.
And apparently, like whatever the master bedchamber is, like there's just like a magnaphone that just like enunciates her screaming as Baelish just like goes to town, I guess.
Yeah.
The Eerie is weird. The Eerie is so weird.
Very, very, because
I still don't understand how the moon door exists. Like there's this castle they built floating like almost in the sky. It's weird.
Very, very weird. I'm sure there's context to that in one of the books, how it's built, but it's the other weird scene is like where he agrees to marry her and she just like walks out the door, turns around and grabs the dude's arm and walks back in to marry him. Like, and you could see on Littlefinger's face, like there was never a plan to marry her. He was going to weasel his way out of it, but now it's like, it's happening. Yeah. So
I was like, I have to kill her.
Yeah.
And he just pushes her out the moon door.
Love it. It's like, I've only ever loved. Oh, very, very, because he's not up until this point, he's not a direct killer, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody, right? Yeah, he's killed nobody directly.
The only person plotted it.
He's definitely plotted it. He's definitely, he's been aggressive before, taking Ned and putting the knife to his neck in the first season. But he's never done the actual deed himself. So I love that whole scene because he's like really talking her up. He's like, I've only ever loved one woman ever in this life. Your sister. Yeah.
Just melting.
Yeah. So I love that. I honestly, Lysa was so weird to me that it was like, thank God that she's off the show now, because like, I just can't stand any of her scenes. She's just really odd.
Yeah.
But we do also get a little bit of context with what actually happened to her husband, which I think up until this point, we thought that it was the Lannisters that killed him because he found out about something, right?
Joffrey's John Arryn.
Yeah, John Arryn.
Hand of the King.
Hand of the King. And I think he found out maybe Joffrey and the kids were the bastards.
That's what we were led to believe up to this point. Yep.
But we know now that Littlefinger was actually in part the reason that she was killed, or he was killed, and that Lysa actually poisoned him. So super interesting twist there. Unfortunately, it doesn't go anywhere because she dies the next, like the next episode or something. But it's just I like those little snippets of like, it's almost like, I don't want to say it's like the, what do you call the narrator from like Joker and Mr. Robot? What's it called?
Unreliable narrator.
Yeah, unreliable narrator. It's not that, but it's just like, I like seeing like we were told this, thought it was 100% true because the Lannisters are bastards, right? But we actually found out that they had nothing to do with it. So I like those little snippets throughout the show, especially when it calls back to something in season 1, which I think is so cool.
Yeah, and Littlefinger has that line where he's like, "Don't speak of it because that makes it like real or whatever."
Yeah,
like just shush, like stop talking.
Right.
He's like,
right.
She's getting all like kind of like head over heels, like this lovely thing you made me do, kill my husband, and
Right.
it could be our dirty little secret. He's just like, shut up. Like,
Yep.
Yeah,
stop.
it ain't gonna stay a secret if you keep flapping those lips.
Right.
Like Sansa's right there.
But yeah.
I heard sound carries through the moonroof here,
Yeah.
so maybe let's not.
I just want to know what she told Robin about all those screams. Like Robin clearly
Right.
had a question the next morning, like, Mom, what's going on?
Yeah.
She's like,
Yeah, right. Who knows?
just more weird
more
conversations.
weird,
in the Eyrie.
eerie stuff. Yep. More weird, eerie stuff going on.
That could be like a Twitter account, like things overheard in the Eyrie.
Yeah.
The weird eerie.
The weird Eyrie. But yeah, let's hop over here to Arya because she has a fun season this season.
That's
Her
what
and
I
the
wanted to
Hound.
get to.
And I'll just start it with Chad and I. We were just appreciating just early dialogue of the Hound here, and when they're in that when they're in the inn and they were talking to the Lannisters. I don't even know if they're Lannisters, but they were just getting
They're
paid by
Lannister
the-
soldiers.
Lannister
Yeah.
soldiers.
But that dude that's just kind of like really grilling into the Hound, like getting into his business. He's like, you lay your life down for the king and you're gonna die for some chicken, and the Hound's just
Yeah.
like, someone is.
Someone is.
Like,
Yeah.
someone-
Love it. Love it.
I'm not gonna die on some chicken. You're gonna die for some chicken.
Yeah. I think this might be one of my favorite arcs of the season. This little like road trip that the Hound and Ari go on, and they're like father-daughter relationship, but the daughter wants to kill the father, and the father knows the daughter wants to kill the father.
Yeah, yeah.
Relationship. Like, there's still definitely some like awkwardness between them, but like he is like kind of taking her under his wing, and she's like gladly like wanting to learn from
Right.
him.
Yeah.
And it's just like there are a lot of cool like interactions and like really big moments for Ari in terms of shaping the person that she becomes by the end of the episode. Which by the end of the episode, by the end of the season, like I loved in the finale, like her last little bit in that episode where the Hound basically gets beat to death by Brienne, tumbles down the hillside, has like the nasty, gnarly leg break, and his head's pretty much like bashed in, and he's just like, kill me,
Yeah.
kill me. And she's like, just
Nah.
standing there, completely stone dead silent, as he's like, is this what you wanted? Like, I'm on your stupid list, just kill me. And she just like doesn't say anything, reaches down, grabs his coin purse.
Yep.
Just see you later, bro.
Right.
My favorite bit about that scene really is like, she's training, like it's a culmination of obviously everything that's kind of happened with them throughout the season. And she's training on the hilltop. Brienne sees her, right? And Brienne approaches her, and like at first she has like people are coming, and like she's like super like straight face, right? And she's kind of like this new like deadly Arya, just on the
Yeah.
defensive. But then like soon as like she gets some kind of inkling, like, oh, are you a lady? That's a knight. That's like a badass like me. And she like lets her guard down. She's super nice, and like this like bubbly Arya kind of comes back out, and then it kind of turns back into like, you know my name, like fuck you, get away
Right.
from me. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you see the dichotomy here of old Arya, this new Arya, but like we don't even know this new Arya yet because she goes, like you said, Mike, she goes so just like stone faced and is just like, what's
Well,
going
like-
on in that skull of yours? Like, are you about
Yeah.
to like kill someone? Like she loves to slip a needle into like
Oh,
the
dude.
tender
Yeah.
spots. On
Yeah.
anybody.
Dude, Ruth,
too
that
easily.
end scene where she stabs that dude through the throat or the back of the head or whatever. She kills somebody.
Right
She
through
kills
the-
right through the throat. But the dude before with the big sword, where she like slides it in, and then
Yeah.
Just nice and
it's when she's
slow.
hiding, and then
Yeah.
she sees that the Hound's like in trouble, and she gets up, grabs the sword, and then like
Because that dude killed one of her friends.
No, that's the guy that she kills with needle when she says the exact quote that he said to her back. Just ruthless. She's ruthless in this season.
Yeah, if you put yourself in her shoes, though, like unlike Sansa,
Right.
everyone who's like been like, "Oh, you're Arya Stark," immediately like captures, imprisons, like wants to kill her. So of course, as soon as Brienne's like, "Oh, you're Arya Stark," she's like,
Oh, yeah.
"Ah, crap."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I guess I better go back to psychopathic, like serial killer Arya mode right now.
Well, and it's also the combination that, you know, the Hound also points out that the sword is obviously Lannister gold. She admits that she got it from Jaime Lannister. That's obviously not a good look whatsoever.
After kind of halfway line, she's like, "I'm not paid by Lannister." She's like, "Oh yeah, well, what's all that stuff you got there? Because I've seen Lannister gold my whole life." Like, like that doesn't check out.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess I am getting paid by the Lannisters.
She's like, shit. She's like, you know. Did you and Jamie happen to name that sword together? How cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joe says, "Oh, the KFC memes that week, the episode dropped." I think he's referring to the
chicken
inn. Yeah.
You're gonna die for some chickens.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
Hey, man, that's I mean, those 7 herbs and spices.
Yeah.
Hey, I stopped by a KFC this week and had the Jack Harlow meal. Not bad, you know.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
I also there's a couple other scenes that I really enjoy with the Hound and Arya. One of them is when they go to the farm and they kind of eat with the family at the table. I freaking love that scene because they're like saying the prayers for all the 7. And he's like, you need to do all the 7 of the fuckers. So I love that. I love that whole scene. But my favorite, I don't know why, because
it's just how Chad wants to act all the time.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Yeah, like he's like my spirit animal 100%. But the other scene that I really, it's just like a throwaway scene. I don't know why I enjoy it so much, but when they go back to the Eyrie and they're standing there and they're like, Lysa's dead, and she just starts busting up laughing.
I love that scene too.
Dude, I love it. I could watch that scene over.
How's
and over.
Just trying to get paid with some ransom money?
It's so great because his expression, he's like, "You've got to be kidding me," and she's just like, "This is hilarious. This dude's life sucks."
Yeah.
Yeah, life's fine.
Their storyline's probably up there for me too, Mike. It's got a very Lone Wolf and Cub feel to it, the samurai movie. So obviously I love that. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I hate that it ended so quickly because we didn't get a whole heck of a lot of it.
I mean, odd storyline out, right? They're kind of, for this season at least, providing like the comic relief because you have all these like very intense like complications and just stuff going on all throughout the 7 kingdoms, and then you just kind of have these two who are trying to just like Hound's literally like, I have a valuable person that's on the chessboard. I just want to get paid from one of her valuable like relatives. Why?
And everywhere they go,
relatives die, like stay alive.
Yeah.
They're all dying.
And die.
And also like the Hound just literally beats up and or kills like every person they come across.
Right.
Like the poor guy with the turned over cart, like the dude that takes them in and like feeds them some stew, and then the mercy killing. I mean, that is understandable, but it's just like, I would hate to run into this guy like on the beaten path, bro.
Yeah.
I forget who and when I said it, but like he doesn't fight gracefully. Like he's no Oberyn. Like he just he like just swings this giant sword, and like if he misses, he's just gonna punch your teeth out and like smash your head against something. Like it's not graceful, it's not pretty. Like he's gonna get hit and stabbed, and then he's just gonna kind of like crush your skull and beat you to death like his brother.
He like he has that conversation with Arya while she's like doing her dancing, and she's like, he's like, who taught you that? And she's like, the greatest swordsman.
Oh yeah.
Like where is he? I don't know, probably dead. Well, if he's the greatest swordsman, how did he die? Well, you know, in a sword fight. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
Well, no, she was like, you know, by some like the Kingsguard. She's like, he had a wooden sword. The greatest swordsman who ever lived had a wooden sword.
Yeah. And then he's just like, it doesn't just matter how you fight. Like you just have to win, and maybe, I don't know, wear armor.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely I like that. It's funny that I really enjoy the fight scene between him and Brienne because Brienne's like the female hound. She's not graceful by any stretch of the imagination. She fights
It was so
very
good the first watch.
but
Like, it was such
yeah,
a build up.
yeah, great build up. The thing that I really can't stand is in kind of contrast to Arya and the Hound, I cannot stand any of the scenes with Brienne and what's
And
his
Pod.
face.
What?
Not because they're not good scenes.
Oh.
Just because she's such a bitch to him through the whole time. Like, it's really fucked up how mean she is to this poor kid. Now, granted, he doesn't know how to do anything right. Clearly, he doesn't know
Yeah.
how to ride a horse. He doesn't know how
he
to
knows how to
skin.
do some stuff right.
Right.
Though. Like, you know
Yeah,
what
we
I
know
mean?
that.
Like,
Yeah.
She's not interested.
She's
in
not
that,
into
though.
that, though. Not into that at all.
maybe she's hurt, and that's why she's so like standoffish with him. Like,
Yeah, maybe.
get this dong swinger out of here.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't trying.
Then sips the wine after the comment. Just sips the wine. Love it, Nick.
Dude, yeah. Man, Pod's one of my fave characters.
Pod's the boy.
Yeah. Yeah, but do you not find it like so? Like, she is just so evil to this poor kid through their whole course of action.
It
gets better.
reminds me very much of like, well, I just got done playing Detroit Become Human, which has like a cop like story arc in it, but it's that whole thing is very much like I don't need a partner. Like, You're gonna give me this partner, and then they're just a douchebag to the partner. The partner's just trying to help. Biosif says there's something special about Brienne, like me and Amazon. Yeah, she's she could definitely fit in on Themyscira, that's for sure. But yeah, it's like I was trying to, as you were talking about the clunkiness of the fight between the Hound and Brienne, trying to think of like a funny like video game reference, but I couldn't like think of one. I'm kind of disappointed myself.
It's just like a freaking sweet anything goes fight. Like Nick said, she chomps off his ear. You know what I mean? So like I love the fight scene. It's cool to see him fight. It's cool that Brienne won and killed the Hound. So yeah. I mean, I just didn't like her storyline leading up to that fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I guess like when she was kind of telling Arya like her plea there, where it's like, I told your mother I would like give you to safety, and like she's like giving her bit there, and it's just like, that's not really much of anything to stand on. Like the Hound has a good point, like safety, like where the hell's that? Like her entire family's
right.
Dead. Like,
Yeah.
Like clearly, if you think that's like your goal, like she's not gonna be any more safer with you.
Right. I feel bad for the Hound. Like, I mean, dude's life sucks.
Yeah.
And like all he wants to do is just get his bag, and he can't.
Yeah, can't do it.
He's trying to like help this girl out, and he just ends up getting beat to death for it.
But I
and then she doesn't even mercy kill him.
Right. Yeah, just lets him die in the sun with a broken leg. Yeah. I think that I just like it because their path is going through, like, they go to the Red Wedding when that's happening, and that's all. Yep. I love that. They go to the Lysa thing, not as big as the Red Wedding, but I just like that they're going through the world. You know what I mean? Yeah. And seeing all these big events happening right in front of them. I love it. It's up there for me for this season.
Yeah, and I guess and obviously like Pod and Bran are kind of like the opposite of them at the halfway point in the season, because like I like how they visit like areas that they were at, because I like that they saw Hot Pie. Ivory's like, hey,
our boy Hot.
Here's back. A wolf piece of bread or whatever.
And it looks
greatly improved.
Like,
yeah.
Oh, Hot Pie.
I love how into his
cooking he is.
What did he make, like shepherd's pie or something?
Yeah,
I love about the gravy.
Yeah, like I love they pops up the seat. Yeah,
just because they were like the nice people that just like made one extra like comment to him, and he's like, "We're friends now." Like, I tell you all about the gravy, about the right ingredients. Oh, Hot Pie.
Yep.
So let me think.
Yeah, where want to go
that
next?
Leave us?
Well, Arya, we end with her, catching a ride to Bravos. She whips out the coin. The dude's like, oh.
You get
yeah.
a
I
cap.
forget exactly what it's called, like that he says.
Pilar
but-
Mugoles.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "All right, let's get out of here."
Let's do the thing. And
I'm
she
excited.
was so happy to be on that boat, and like
Yeah,
yeah.
dude.
it was great too because she was looking off the back of the boat like at Westeros going away. That she's like, then she like it snapped. She's like, I need to look forward. Like, where are we going? Like, what are we
Right.
doing?
Yeah.
And like that's just like a sigh of relief for her because like she rode that pony so fast down to the docks. Like she's ready to like move on because she's been kind of entrapped in this whole like, you know, the Night's Watch guy dragged her out of King's Landing, made her pretend to be a boy. She's in Harrenhal like as a prisoner, and then like the Hound scoops. Like she's just been like thrown around, much like Sansa, like against
Yeah.
their will, like just kind of entrapped in the dealings of the story. And finally, like she's setting off on her own. At least she feels finally. So that was a really cool scene to kind of end it. That hit a lot better than Theon's sister at the end of the last season because that just kind of like was like, yeah. Then it was like, yeah, he's dead.
Yeah.
Let's not deal with this.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a throwaway scene, to use Chad's term there, where it's just like, we're gonna go in there, we're gonna save my brother, and never mind, he's lost his mind, he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Right.
But like, man, that the way that shoot, what's his name?
Ramsey.
Yeah, the way I want to call him Remley. There's too many
Oh, Ramsey.
ours that end in e's here.
Yeah.
For me to keep track of. But yeah, Ramsey's got him trained.
Oh
Like,
man.
Good little
And
puppy.
In
You're gonna go pretend to be somebody. You know who
Yeah.
you're gonna pretend to be? Theon.
Theon. Yeah,
Do
love it, dude. Love it. I really appreciate and I don't know his name, sorry, but the actor that plays Theon, because he does a freaking fantastic job with the whole Stockholm syndrome thing he's got going on. Because if you remember the first couple of seasons, he certainly was not like he is even remotely. So just the way that he, you know, two totally different spectrums of acting. It's really, he does a great job.
Kennel.
Yeah.
Like that's insane. Like his room is in the dog kennel.
Yep.
Yes. I also love how like Ramsey, like Bolton, the dad, is like initially like really pissed off at Ramsey for doing what he did, but then Ramsey's like, "No, dude, you don't understand." Like
that shaving scene.
Like I've got him trained.
Yeah,
and then you see that pay off with the taking of the moat, and then like being rewarded, you know, being Warden of the North or whatever.
Yeah. I love the. Go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
No, I was like, and I think his dad gets that too eventually because like Ramsey, who it's a little not as clear in the show, but the way he is very much an infatuation with his heritage and his family.
Yeah.
And I think he's showing like his dad realizes like, okay, yes, you are a true Bolton. Like the things you're doing are next level. Like you're not just flaying people because it's what we do. You just trained a highborn to be a dog. Like you're a personal little servant. Like
and he does it with the shaving scene.
Yeah, that's what I want to bring up.
He literally is just like, here is a very sharp instrument that you can use to murder people, and I'm just gonna kick back with my neck right to the blade
and
what's
berate
he talk
you.
About?
Yeah,
and berate you the whole time. Yeah, multiple things, but
there's
Rob
one thing
dying. Rob dying.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's like, he's basically your brother.
Yeah,
and like just laying into it, and he's just like paused with like the blade
right
and,
at
like,
the jugular. Yeah,
yeah. And if you know like anything about like getting shaved like that, if you just like reverse your motion, like you're slicing skin at that point.
Yeah.
So like he was just in a perfect like standstill, and then just keeps going.
Yeah,
like it's fine.
Yeah, I love it.
Good.
But that was you had asked me, Nick, how the dude that cut off Jaime's hand wound up at the wall.
That's right.
It's that scene there where he tells him like, here, Bran and whatever, they might be at the wall, go up there, join the Night's Watch, figure out what's going on. That's how he ends up there. But yeah, I love that scene. And I love that like he's just off in the corner watching the whole thing pan out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So super cool. I really like that, and I say it. I don't even know his name, to be honest with you. The dude that cuts off Jaime's hand. But I really like that character. I wish we got more of him.
He's kind of like the Bronn of the North. Like,
yeah,
he's just
he
kind of like a
is.
cutthroat sellsword, like down with
But,
the Boltons.
But like once you see where like how close he is with the Boltons, you're like, oh, now I kind of understand the ruthlessness that we saw from him in the last season, cutting Jaime's hand off and all that stuff.
The actor who plays Theon, by the way, is Alfie Allen.
Alfie Allen, yeah, he was in the first John Wick movie as well.
Really?
Yep.
I'm going to look up the guy who goes up to the wall. Now that's my next task.
Okay.
Well, speaking of which, the wall, right? The cool thing about the wall in this season is we are getting both sides of the wall, right?
Right.
We kind of have this like 50 miles to the north and south of the wall where we have things going on. And just to note, the 50 miles south of the wall is called the Gift, and that's all the lands gifted to the Night's Watch to fuel their lives.
Yeah.
But we have the wildlings that climb over the wall with old Jon Snow there, and they're just kind of like wreaking havoc, trying to draw the Night's Watch out to pick them off. So we have that band, and that's a fun thing in itself, just because like the Redbeard guy, like he's awesome, but then he's just like, what are they called? The like
Thens.
The Thens.
Yeah.
He's like, I hate
Thens. Yeah.
But like these guys are just they're cannibals. They eat people.
Made me think of Victor Zsasz so bad, if you know any like
that
Batman
dude is
villains.
Victor Zsasz on steroids.
Yeah.
Because like he keeps track of his kills, by tally marks, and he's all scarred and disfigured like that, and all of these people just have those wicked scars.
That's the familiarity. I was wondering. I was like, why does this guy remind me of someone?
Yeah.
Victor
I got you. Is the guy's name Locke that you're thinking of? That
yes. Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really like the whole Then things, because you see that they're like, the wildlings are so diverse, you know what I mean? Like we have cannibals, and it's cool that Mance brought them all together under this one goal. We don't know what's coming yet and why they're freaking out so bad. I mean, we have an idea. We've seen little snippets here and there. But I just think it's so cool. I wish that we saw, and we might later on, but I wish we saw more of their kind of like what's going on north of the wall, not just them attacking and trying to get over and this stuff. I wish we saw more of the like, I'd like a Mance spinoff series while he's trying to do, bring everybody together.
Yeah.
And I really love Mance as an actor too. I think he does a great job.
Dude, Nick, I was going to text you this. I'm pretty sure he's in the Terror.
Yes, he is. He's
one of the captains.
Yep. He's one of the captains in the Terror.
I was like, man, why does this guy look so familiar? He's great in the Terror, and he's great in this show.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good. I just love their whole set. Like they don't kneel for anybody. You know, they have. I just love it. They give me Viking vibes. I think that's maybe what they're supposed to be based off of. I can't think of anybody else they'd be based off of. That's the vibe they give me. You guys are the Viking Kings.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, and there's all that.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say there's all that activity with them, right? And then we have Jon Snow's woman, right? Kind of dealing with her, as they would say it, like, because he was like, oh yeah, she loved you, as he was talking with Jon Snow.
Yeah.
There, like, she wouldn't. They was thinking about killing you. Like, yeah,
that's how I know.
You.
Yeah.
There's all that activity, and the north of the wall, we obviously have like this idea that like Mance and all the wildlings are coming. We know this is a classic setup of like, we got like the raiding party on the inside, we got the main force on the outside. It's just setting up for this really epic battle.
Right.
And we have Jon here, who's kind of like getting heckled the entire time by like all the douchebags that don't like him in the Night's Watch.
Just basically everyone on leadership.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and obviously, it's the main guy, the main like ranger who's been there forever, who's always hated him. But then you have this added douchebag from like King's Landing who like, oh yeah, you got kicked out of the King's Guard, all that nonsense, and you're just
Mhm.
here because you're just some snot nosed King's Landing guy who thinks he's cool.
Yeah.
How
And
can
can't
you
stand it.
like
he's always
end
speaking
up
from a
in a leadership position from being like a new person
It's
at the wall?
because they were all north of the wall. I think it was just there wasn't that many people there, and they were thought to be dead, and then they reappeared. So yeah, it
That makes
annoys
sense.
me. It might be because of where he came. He was commanding a decent
True,
size
true.
army in a big city. But yeah, he's just I can't stand him, dude.
dude
Like,
sucks.
yeah, he sucks. Every interaction sucks. When he's at the table and John's telling him about the Giants, he's like, Giants.
Yeah.
You heard,
What do you know? You've only been out there,
Yeah,
outside of the wall. How dare
Yeah.
you tell us what you
My name
saw?
is Jon Snow. I know nothing. Like I'm just making shit up.
Yeah,
like,
right. Yeah.
Got nothing better to do.
And then I
But
can't stand the commander either. I think he's
Yeah.
a total
he had
douche.
he had a moment there with John at the top of the wall where he's like,
He did.
you know what?
Alistair.
He's like, you called it. Like
Yeah.
there's definitely like a lot of them. And
that-
we're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
But he's like, you know what leadership is? He's like,
Yeah, I got the
being the
quote here.
one-
Let me read the quote.
That was a great. I loved it.
This is my second favorite quote next to the lying whores one, but it's you know what leadership means, Lord Snow. It means that the person in charge gets second guessed by every little twat with a mouth. But if he starts second guessing himself, that's the end for him, for the clever little twats, for everyone. What a
Yeah.
great freaking
It's
quote.
so
dude.
great.
Love it.
and the way he
Love it.
delivers it too. Like,
Also-
he's got
Oh, so good.
1000% true.
Yeah, absolutely. true,
Anyone
yep.
who has ever been in any sort of leadership position totally resonated with that
Yeah,
quote.
absolutely. Yep.
we should have sealed the tunnel, like you said. But
Yep.
guess what?
Yep.
We're here now,
Yep.
and
We are
That's
where
not
we
it.
are.
that's where we are. And
uh,
we're by all means, we're gonna hold this. We're gonna hold this
Yeah.
down. Now, did he die?
I believe so.
I just remember him getting dragged under the
No.
the stairs and
Or-
Yeah.
stuff.
Seemed
Yeah,
to
they don't
be
show-
gravely
They just
injured.
didn't. They just didn't
He
show
got
him
wounded.
again.
Yeah, they didn't show him.
Okay.
I
I do-
hate this guy. I hate Alistair
Yeah.
so much. But like in that battle, in the speech he gives, like the little squadron he's leading in the castle itself, I'm like, all right, I can get behind this dude when crap hits the fan.
When crap hits the fan, yeah,
I
yeah,
can
yeah.
I can get behind this guy. Otherwise, I hate him.
And,
Yeah.
and that's kind of his thing to stand on too, because he's like, I'm the guy that you want here when like shit hits the fan,
Yeah.
because regardless of how much crap I give everyone, during the day.
Right.
But and then John has a great line in that whole battle sequence. He's like, "Who's left to like?" Because Sam's like, "No one gave you orders." He's like, "Who's left to give orders?" Like,
Right.
Yeah.
I love
Jon
the
Snow.
continual passing of charge on top of the wall. It's
Yeah.
just like Alistair goes down for good reason, then the turd from King's Landing takes over,
idiot.
has no idea what he's doing,
Not a clue.
and John and his two buddies see it and they're like, Alistair said that he needed some help
Yeah.
down below.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah,
So
yeah.
he
Well-
takes off, and then that like everyone just follows and loves Jon Snow. So like he takes his like rightful place
Yeah.
as like in command there, and that was really cool. to
Then
see.
John was like, "I need to go down there."
Yeah.
That's one of the best shots in the show, though, or in the episode of him going down there, the like panning shot through the chaos that's
Mhm.
ensuing. I love it.
and just like the elevator slowly. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
poor kid just sitting there like just running
Yeah,
circles around
Ollie.
that post. Of this
Poor
dang
Ollie,
elevator.
man. It's cool though because like Ollie's had a rough freaking go of it so far. He watched his family get massacred. The Then told him he's gonna eat his mom and dad. Go tell the guys at the night watch.
Yeah.
And then he's a little kid amongst all these grown adults. But
who are
I do like
terrible,
in the
like,
episode,
probably rapists and things like
yeah,
that. So he's
awful
probably not
humans,
even
awful humans.
safe.
Right, awful humans. But I do like in the episode where he's like hunkering down and like almost crying, and then towards the end you see him actually deliver the killing blow on Ingrid and just gives him the kind of nod. I love
Yeah.
I love it.
Got
I'm
you,
like,
bro.
dude, okay, maybe this kid's a little bit of a badass because
Yeah.
he just went from crying and now he's like this badass archer taking everybody out. So
Well, he said in scenes prior, he's like, I was the best archer in my village, and everyone kind of like
Yeah.
laughed
Yeah,
at
like,
him.
we'll take you rabbit hunting here.
yeah. But we
I do love how
go ahead.
sorry, I keep interrupting you guys.
No, you're good.
I love how like sucky the Night's Watch is. Like, when this all starts, like they're just like dropping barrels, like, and Alistair's like, this is what I got. Like, you wonder why I'm such a douchebag all the time.
Right.
You guys freaking suck.
Yeah. Well, it just goes.
When I say knock your arrows, does that mean draw?
Yeah. It just goes that like the Night Watch at this point in the show, like nobody even thinks that they need this freaking thing anymore. Like the threats are not really, like the wildlings aren't
It's
really
like
the
government
threat.
agency. You don't know why it exists.
Yeah, exactly. But the wildlings are not why the wall was put up. So that the reason for them existing hasn't been around for 1,000 years. So it's like, of course they're going to get the crappy. They're not getting like highly trained soldiers. They're getting criminals that don't even want to be there. So I love, I love that they show that like maybe these guys aren't as good as we think they are at doing their jobs.
Which
but
makes
we
me
did
hate
breeze.
Alistair even more. Like, sorry, I just did it again.
No, you're good, bro.
Sorry.
Just go.
It makes me hate him even more because very clearly Jon Snow is the most skilled
by a long shot
warrior they have there, and he's just always a douche. And he's like, no, you're gonna clean the toilets, or like the equivalent
Johnny
of
Goat.
And it's just like, okay, this dude's literally the only person up here who can actually fight. Like, why don't you let him teach these people?
Yeah, well, it sucks because he was taken kind of under Mormont's wing for leadership, and then Mormont unfortunately dies, which is what I was trying to bring up, where we kind of breezed over everything that happens at Craster's Keep in this season. But
that was this season.
Yeah. Well, I think the killing of Mormont was last season, but then going there and taking care of the Night's Watch.
That actor, he's in Pacific Rim. He's in so many things.
He's good.
But that dude's just like,
he's that cruddy dude from The Expanse when they settle on that one planet.
And that's what I was gonna say. In everything except Pacific Rim, in that and this. There's like something else too. Like he's just like the usurper, like the like settlement, like disturber, where he's just like he's just like, I'm fucking in charge and I'm gonna do some shitty shit.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about it. And then someone does something about it. But he just plays that like slime ball role so well.
He does so good. Especially like
when he fights Jon Snow, he's fighting so good.
Yeah, the fight's really good, but when he's drinking the freaking wine or whatever out of his skull and he's like got his tongue out and he's like licking, I'm like, dude, what the hell? This dude is so creepy. Yeah, I love him.
He's loaded and he's like just living his worst life north of a wall where no one can touch him.
Right. And we get, because we need to talk about this because there's important things that happen here, because Bran is here at this time. This is where the dude that cut off Jaime's hand ends up dying, which is for good reason, because he was getting ready to take Bran probably back to the Boltons, which would have ended very badly, obviously.
Just flame him.
But I love the way he died. Like I can't remember. Did somebody pick him up and snap his neck or something? Or Hodor. Yeah.
He just basically,
Well,
Bran, right.
Through his giant vessel.
Yeah.
Speaking of flame, I was cutting some chicken breasts this week, and
when did we talk about flames?
Flame.
Oh,
like
flame.
Flame.
Gotcha.
So now, because I'm watching Game of Thrones, and like I'm also in the kitchen, like meal prepping sometimes. So I was just cutting this like chicken breast like perfectly in half with this very sharp knife, and I was like, wow, I feel like Ramsey Bolin right now. It's just like
flaying my chicken breast.
like because I had just watched that scene where they just showed like the flayed man. I'm like, this is a lovely noise right now. Like I'm just in it. Like,
All right, so Nick's been put on some watch list.
Yeah.
my meal
but
prep game is just crazy, I guess.
I think one of the more important things that we haven't really touched on about the greater threat is we see what happens to the baby boys.
Yes, break that down.
Well, there's not much, but they get their cheeks touched. Not those cheeks. Get your mind out of the gutters.
Wow.
And then they turn into the White Walkers. They just the eyes turn blue.
Yeah, so I mean, and this is something I've always just kind of wondered about it in general. So they're just kind of just I need fresh infant baby boys to turn into grown Night Kings,
White Walkers.
White Walkers, right?
Yeah.
Not to be because not all of them are White Walkers because we clearly
Yeah,
have like
correct.
ice zombies, and then we have
It
actual
will-
White Walkers.
Well, we can talk about that because we saw the separation already. We've seen the White Walkers.
Not those cheeks.
Not
That's
those
right,
cheeks.
Joe.
We've seen the White Walkers, which are the like ice elves or whatever you want to call them.
yeah.
And then the
Ice
whites.
orcs.
Yeah, there you go. And then the whites, WIGHTS, are the zombie like things that we see at the end of I think season 2 that kind of walk past Sam, as well as at the end of this season at the tree when they're fighting and what's his face, the brother gets killed.
Those
Yeah,
dang
but-
skellies.
Those
Yeah.
are just straight up skellies, though. Those are like really
They're
old
whites.
whites.
They're
I
whites,
felt
yeah.
like I was
In Valheim.
yeah, exactly, about to get some freaking cores from a tomb or something.
Dude, the same way, like when they hit them or they explode, they just like
Yeah.
shatter bone. I was like, dude, it's Valheim. Like,
Yeah.
also, they
Except this
took it from
came
Game
like
of Thrones.
way before
yeah.
Valheim, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to talk about. There's not much that really happens of any context with the Bran story, outside of them getting to where they're actually going.
Well,
there's
our companion dies.
Rip.
I always
Yeah,
forget
but
his
did
name.
anyone really like him though?
yeah. I mean, not
He was
really.
kinda
Here,
lame.
let's be honest. He was like on death's doorstop before
Yeah,
he.
his
You know what I
sister's
mean? He
way
was dead.
cooler.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
sister's way cooler. He was dying anyway. I do appreciate the way that he dies in this, where she just looks over and he's just getting
Yeah, the
stabbed.
skeleton's just like.
Um,
Yeah, that was great. I love
but
it.
I really, this is kind of where you're starting to see like a big jump in the fantasy elements here. Is the dude in the tree and the magic kind of barrier that they have in the cave, and they just like burst into. I love
Yeah,
that scene.
that
The
was so
sound in
cool.
it's good. It's really cool.
Where's the
including the
wildling chick?
sunset, behind the tree, everything about it is
Very-
super cool.
That's very Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah,
vibes.
yes,
Like the way they use
very.
like the lighting and like the colors, like that's
The
what
red
it reminded me
leaves,
of.
yeah, yep,
Um,
absolutely.
Where's the wildling chick?
We have not seen her.
Oh yes, I
Oh,
forget her name.
Or did they depart? Did she not go with them
She-
through
no.
the tunnel? She
No,
stayed.
remember
Lauren Cohen.
she refused to go north of the
Okay,
wall, so she
okay.
took Rick on, and I cannot for the life of me remember where she was trying to get him to. Somewhere, maybe
Was she
Castle
trying to just
Black.
go to the? Yeah, I was about to say, was she just
Yeah.
trying to get to the wall and not go north? of
That
it?
might be where they're heading. They might be heading.
I think they're going to Castle Black.
They might be going to Castle Black, but knowing where they end up, it doesn't quite make sense. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll figure it out.
And I also remember that's a cool element too. All the times that Bran almost got Jon Snow, like got
Yeah.
to Jon Snow. So like
Yeah.
first it's like with the wildlings, in like the windmill.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
they're kind of doing all that. Though I don't know if he actually knew Jon Snow was out there, but we knew that they were
yeah.
close. But then it was at Craster's Keep where he literally sees him and he's like, John. And they're like, nope, he's gonna want to take you back to Castle Black. And he's like, shucks.
Right.
But those are cool elements where it's like you get the wolves are back together briefly, and that's the other thing when Ghost is like killing people in Castle Black. I'm like, man, they really make it a point to like kill a wolf a season. Like it's so sad because like Arya's dies season 1 right as soon as they get him.
No, Arya's doesn't. Sansa's.
No, Sansa's.
Arya's is still alive. Remember, she throws the rock at it and it runs away, and then they end up killing Sansa's in replace of that one because they couldn't find it.
Okay, and then obviously Rob's dies, and
right
thing that happened in season 3.
Yeah.
Just had to bring it up. Let's touch on that. So Sansa's dies in season 1.
Yep. Ned kills it.
Then is it Rob's dies in season 3?
Yep.
Does Rickon have a wolf?
Rickon does have a wolf.
Jon Snow has a wolf.
Jon Snow has Ghost, who my little Pomeranian is named after, by the way.
Oh, nice.
He looks like a little miniature wolf.
I actually started a game. Let me pull it up here. I started playing Monster Sanctuary for about like 5 minutes last night, and I named my spirit wolf Ghost.
Nice.
So, it's happening.
What is Monster Sanctuary?
You don't want to know.
Okay.
Oh god.
Go ahead, Nick.
It's a Pokemon clone, basically.
Oh god. Okay.
So is right now there's only 2 wolves dead? Dyers?
Yes.
So Arya's is unaccounted for?
Arya's is unaccounted for. I believe, yes, I think I know that Rickon's is with him in the wildling. And then Bran's
is with him. Yep.
So
Jon has
his. Yeah. Rickon has his.
Yep.
Arya is estranged from hers.
Rob has his as well.
Yeah.
At least the head attached
at least
to
the
his
head.
body.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to make a new segment in these episodes, and that's Wolf Watch 2022.
Yeah.
Where are the
wolves? Yeah.
The seasonal update of the remaining Stark wolves.
Yeah. Okay, glad we checked in on that because that's
okay.
Important.
I do want to go.
Cares.
I do want to go back.
Nick's wolf cares very much.
I do want to go back because even though we kind of breezed over it, I really like the imagery of the White Walker baby change thing, like the whole setup, the way that the like ice throne is in the middle and they put it down
from
World
of Warcraft.
Actually, if you watch
Lich Kings,
I was just gonna say, if you watch the Lich King trailer, the CGI trailer, it's like freaking White Walker 100%.
That is by far one of the greatest video game cinematic trailers ever.
Oh, for sure,
dude,
they're all good
100 times.
Dude, they're all good. Cataclysm is really good too.
Oh yeah, I've watched.
Imagine if they made a movie out of those.
Right.
Yeah.
Those things small indie companies can't.
I haven't talked about that in a while.
Yeah. Jeez.
Let's take a 15-minute break and just talk about.
No, we can't because I'll talk about these cinematic trailers for like an hour.
Yeah.
So let's just back to the White Walkers.
I just want to say I like the kind of like blurred out where you see all the White Walkers walking, one's walking up. Unfortunately, we do see the Night King for the first time here. He looks freaking ridiculous in the scene where he's like his mouth is like gaped open and he just looks really bad. He looks much better in the future, but I just like it.
He's thawing out, man. Like
they got like the green sky going on and stuff. It's just super eerie looking up in the lands of always winter or whatever they call it up there.
Nice.
Okay, now we can. I just wanted to comment because I'll be the first to admit the Night King is my favorite character. For the record.
Chad likes the Night King.
Okay, so we've talked about the White Walkers, Crasters, Brienne, the Hound, Arya, Sansa, Joffrey.
Let's talk
Tyrion. I mean, is there anything big that we've left out?
I do want to note really quick to kind of wrap up.
Oh, we haven't even talked about Dany at all.
Yeah, we haven't talked Dany at all.
So Tyrion, when he gets smuggled out of the Red Keep.
Let's talk about that because we did breeze over. I want to break that scene down, the death scene a little bit more. Tywin's death scene. So go ahead.
So obviously I think we really touched on like the whole Shay thing. So like he is like chokes her out, and he was really sad about
Tragic.
Yeah,
And
brutal to watch, man. Yeah.
I mean, like he goes in there expecting to kill his father, or confront his father, and sees Shay in there, and then ends up killing her. That's just so
Brutal.
heartbreaking.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah, and
not the bad bitch that she thought she was, though. She couldn't even fight off Tyrion, so
right.
Right.
I
Rip.
mean, he just got the upper hand on her and just choked her out with like the
gold
rope.
necklace. Yeah,
something
gold
like
rope.
that.
It's kind of ironic that Tyrion got the upper hand on anyone.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But yeah, so then he sees the crossbow hanging ornately on the wall. Gets that. I don't know how he got it off the wall. Must have been low enough. So then
Probably the same way he got the upper hand. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, he kind of trots down to finds his dad sitting on the latrine, the John. What does Tywin call it? He has
I don't
like
know. He's got some name for it.
Yeah, he's got an older name for it.
Yeah.
But they just have a great exchange here because we touched on this. Just kind of Tywin's just running his usual bit, like he's always just kind of backpedaling to whatever to his advantage. He's like, "Well, yeah, you're right, Tyrion. Like, I hate you. I wish you would have died many times, but you're my son. You're a Lannister."
What I love so much about that scene is that he's Tywin up to the very last second. Like he's still trying to weasel his way out. He's still trying to sweet talk his way out of everything. I love the whole interaction. When my kids were younger, we used to do like little sword fight missions. So every time they would kill me in the mission, I'd be like, "You're no son of mine." I love that quote. It's just it's just heartbreaking to watch, dude, because like the whole like I am your son. I have always been your son. Yeah. And I love that he says like, "Don't call her a whore again." And then as soon as he says the word whore, he shoots the bolt and it hits almost instantaneously. As soon as he says whore, as soon as the R part of it is over, he shoots. Whore. So yeah. So I love it. And I just love that Tywin's just still trying to freaking sweet talk his way out of it and died on the toilet, which is like the worst way for him to go.
Yeah.
But you just know, like, he's walking, he's at the bottom of those steps and he can go and be free. But you just see his wheels clicking where he's like, here, like this was too screwed up. I can't forgive this. So I love that.
Yeah.
Like that silent scene, no dialogue whatsoever, but you can see what's happening in his head.
So I think he knows that he's like, okay, cool, I'm gonna escape here, but like, is my life ever going to change so long as my father still exists? Like this whole entire situation is left unaddressed. So like he goes and deals with it. And obviously the unexpectedness of like, oh great, I have to murder Shay now. So yeah, and I think this is the first time Tyrion kills directly outside of like combat and battle, right? Like another character.
Yeah.
An important character. Yeah. He kills the like one mountain man or whatever they called him that was attacking Cat back in season 1 with the shield.
A little different. But like kind of like nefarious, like plot, like premeditated murder. Basically.
Do you think that? Go ahead and read the comment real quick.
Joe just says, "I love you, son. You're my bruh." And if you weren't tuned into Joe's stream this morning, there's a whole bruh lore, unfolding during that stream. So go watch his stream from this morning, and then maybe you'll understand. Continue.
So do you think that he turned around to go kill Tywin, or was he just going to go like confront him about everything?
I wanted to ask you guys about this.
Yeah, I kind of took it as he was going to go confront him, but then he was confronted with Shay, which made him snap.
Yep.
I would say you're probably right. I'm sure he didn't really. He might have had the intent of killing his father, or at least like
if it got to that, yeah.
Yeah, like it wasn't good, but he was definitely going to confront his father because he was definitely headed to that location.
Right.
But I think the Shay was just kind of like a bonus problem he had to deal with, unfortunately. And there
Yeah.
was just like no way. He seemed pretty. I think he was set on killing his father from the get go because otherwise he wouldn't have necessarily killed Shay. Perhaps, like he was set on murder.
Well, I
going
don't
in
know
there.
because he
Yeah, I
doesn't
don't
take
know.
anything with him.
Yeah, he
like
has no weapon.
it's not like
nothing.
he's gonna kill his father with his bare hands. I mean,
Right.
come on. And I
Maybe.
think the
In
Shay.
his sleep.
I think the Shay murder was a crime of passion, as they call it. Like he was just so enraged,
Yeah.
that like his emotions overtook him, and then that sent him over the edge. And he's like, "All right, I hate my dad, but now I really hate my dad because not only like is he just a scumbag to me, but
True.
like he then tried to prevent me from having this relationship with Shay in the first place, and now he's just banging her."
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Right.
just like
My lion.
yeah,
Yeah.
so crazy.
Yeah, I definitely took it that way because I don't even think he intended to go in there. I don't even think that he was going to kill Shay even after finding it out. She attacked him and then he kind of defended
Yeah.
himself and then ended up strangling her. So yeah,
Exactly.
I didn't think that he had the intention of going back and killing his father. Just because he didn't have any weapons, he's just like strolling into the room like
No.
totally
What was his plan, though?
under-equipped. I don't know. I took it as he was gonna go confront him before he left or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then he's
She's
just
like,
like,
"You're a jerk. I'm leaving.
yeah,
Bye."
I'm leaving secretly. Shh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
Don't
knock
tell
on this door
anyone.
4 times.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what I wanted to touch on was Varys also very well acted.
Yes.
So like he's smuggling him out, and that moment on the dock where like he just turns
So
and
good,
he's
dude.
just like he's seeing Tyrion off, right? Making sure he makes it onto the boat. Very nice of him. He turns to like go back to the castle and like they're ringing the bells, and he's just like,
Just turns right
Someone
around.
died. We're just gonna get on the ship.
Yep.
he's like, I think I'm too involved here.
Yep.
And like he just knew he had to get out. Like it was time. Like whatever was about to unfold was just too messy to deal with.
Yeah.
And he just knows that he's better off leaving King's Landing finally. To just kind of saddle up with Tyrion. And we don't really know why at this point, but we just know that Varys is probably at the end of his rope at
I
King's
think that
Landing.
I think it's that. It's interesting because throughout what we've seen so far, Littlefinger and Varys are both very interested in the throne. I think maybe Varys even like says that's what he's trying to go for with Oberyn, maybe.
Those two always have the scenes where they're just staring at the throne.
Right. Yeah.
Like on multiple occasions.
So it is interesting that both of them leave King's Landing this season. And I think Littlefinger was for obvious reasons. Varys, like he knows Tyrion killed somebody because he's covered in blood.
What have you done?
He's got something on him and he's like, yeah, what have you done? And I think it's Varys seeing that like the Lannisters are kind of falling apart and they're probably they're on the downslope. You know what I mean? Joffrey's dead. Probably most likely Tywin is dead. So like I'm leaving. Like this is no place to be anymore. Maybe I can find someone else somewhere else that would be better to follow than the Lannisters. That's how I took the scene. That coupled with I'm just not going to go back there because this sounds bad. You know.
I mean, if you piece it together that Tyrion killed his father, and like his father is like the last like logical sane person to run that place, you're left with like Cersei, a child, Jaime, not even Jaime, really Cersei,
right?
And whatever the Tyrells are up to, and I think he just knows like his hand is better played elsewhere. He kind of committed. He kind of played his hand with Tyrion here in getting him out, and he's like, "All right, I'm just gonna kind of roll with this for now."
Yeah.
Because if Tywin's gone, there's no sensible person to talk to anymore.
Right.
Cersei Speaking
But
of
it
Cersei,
is interesting. First off, I want to point out that when I was giving my Varys Littlefinger speech, both of you guys froze. So I thought I said something that I wasn't supposed to say, like a spoiler. You were both like, you froze.
It's
Like
'cause you you
froze.
also froze.
Oh,
and,
okay.
so we were like, oh no.
Okay. It was just funny. But I think it's interesting for Varys because it's weird that Littlefinger or Tyrion even trusts him because he literally just was testifying against him at the trial.
yeah,
Like, so I find it interesting that he even trusts him. I don't think he has much option at this point. He's like,
And it
they're about to kill him. So
kind of goes back to Varys saying like, oh, I never forget anything when he's
right.
you know, you said you
Right.
never forget what happened
Yeah.
here or whatever.
and he
but
kind
I
of
just
fixed
wanted
that
to-
whole testifying against you, but he's like, yeah, what you just said, totally true. Still, we're cool,
Yeah.
but you know how things work around here. I
Yeah.
he's got to do what I got to do.
can't,
Right.
I can't
got you.
back the
Yeah.
dying man in public. Like that's
Yeah.
just a bad move, bro.
I just wanted to shout out the actor who plays Lord Varys because I think he's fantastic. His name
So
is
good.
Conleth Hill.
So good.
Great, does fabulous job here.
Absolutely.
Um,
Okay. That leaves
yeah.
us with
Danny.
No Danny yet. One
Okay.
more thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Speaking
go
of Cersei and the estranged, who are the dudes with chains?
The dude with a maester.
The estranged maester who got kicked out of being a maester.
Yeah, we do need. Yeah.
Who's
They are
saving the
fixing-
mountain.
He's trying to fix the mountain, and she's like, "Well, will he be weaker?" He's like, "No."
Oh no. Yeah.
And basically we get this kind of like Frankenstein kind of esque thing. They're in this laboratory that's a Macer's lab. We've gotten hints so far throughout this season of this ex-Maester, right? He's unnatural, unconventional ways. That's how he got kicked out.
Helped out Jamie with his hand.
Right.
nub.
Like he's kind of like, he came with Jamie back. He was in service of like the Boltons. Like this dude's kind of like questionable character. Like he's kind of like the doctor you go to and you're like, I need help.
Yeah.
For free.
Right.
And he's like, well,
Yeah.
I have this wild idea.
Yeah.
So that, and this is another point where it's like Cersei is also kind of exerting her continual strife for like, I am still in charge. Like you're no longer needed here, Maester.
Right. Yeah, I love
he's
that.
Like, this
I love
is my
that.
lab, and she's like, goodbye. Like, get.
Yeah.
I just love seeing their two different trains of thought on the mountain. Like he's like, Maester Pycelle's like, he's done. There's nothing we could do about him. Yeah, he's done. And the other dude's just going around the room like grabbing shit. And he's like, oh no,
dude,
no,
the
no,
giant
no.
like syringe thing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
just-
dude.
I'm like, what is happening here? I don't want.
And I always love watching and any of these like shows that take place in older times, like the medical technology from back then. I love seeing that kind of stuff. So yeah, I love this scene. I totally forgot about it. I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah. Biosiv says, he's messed up if he was in service of the Boltons.
Damn true. Yep.
So true.
Boltons are like, well, we can't have an actual Maester, so we'll just take whatever else you got. Well, here's this exiled Maester.
I'm sure Ramsay provides him with plenty of test subjects.
Right. Right. Do you think he ever tried to figure out like how to keep a flayed dude alive through the like after the flaying?
He's like Ramsay. I would really appreciate like an unflayed person. He's like, that's all you get, bro.
Yeah,
like
that's all you got.
That's all I got.
Deal with it.
Deal with it. So he's probably like the mountain. He still has his skin on him.
Yeah,
I can work with this.
Right.
Like, I kind of don't know what to do though, because like I'm so used to the no skin. Like,
right.
He's like, so he might actually live.
Yeah.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah. Love it.
And Cersei's just like, good. So
see her plotting for sure.
Yeah, she's got more heads to pop apparently.
Yep.
Pop for real. But yeah.
Okay, so did you I'm sorry, before we get to Danny, did you guys love Oberyn as much as I love Oberyn?
Oberyn's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We can't get attached to him because he's dead.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. I just
Dead and
fucking
gone.
I love him so much.
We know you do. You
It's
told us
totally
how much
man
you do.
crushing every time that he's on the screen. I can't help it. I'm sorry.
We can talk about him a little more on Sunday during the Patreon episode.
Okay. Sweet.
Just hopefully neither
Is
of
there
us
a character
forget
called like
about it.
Oberyn?
No,
No.
but there is another Game of Thrones character that is almost freaking identical on Triangle Strategy, and we'll get to that. You have to know who it is. Maybe you don't, because you didn't even know that you could pull up the diagrams. You didn't know that you could run the auto dialogue, so you didn't have to keep it.
And I've played it twice,
Dude. They tell you that in like the first scene of the game that you can like pull up these diagrams to see like where the houses are, what the characters are, what they're doing. And then the auto thing is hilarious to me. So you played your whole playthrough just
first time. Yep.
The dude I'm talking about is, I can't remember his name, but it's like Petriel or whatever.
Oh yeah, I hate that
Dude,
guy.
Littlefinger,
100%.
100% Littlefinger. He even looks like him if you don't know because you didn't pull up the diagram. But if you would have pulled that up, you would have seen he looks exactly like Littlefinger. Dude, I'm
Nick,
impressed that you
peace
didn't.
out.
Yeah, he said he'd be right back. I'm impressed that you didn't know that, because it's like a really important part of the game for me, is because
I didn't
not
even
only
bother.
not only can you pull it up to see like who the hell this dude is, but it changes throughout as the characters change, the description changes for him, so you can keep track of like who's this dude, what's he doing now, all that stuff.
Very nice. Yeah, no, I just had all that from memory apparently.
Yeah.
Joe says, I love that entire family. Think he's talking about Oberyn still, maybe?
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I can't wait to talk about the similarities between that game and Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, Dany's arc through this season was an interesting one.
Yeah, I think up until this point in the show, this might have been my favorite arc for Dany, primarily because she kind of turns into a little bit of a badass in the season, specifically when she gets to Marine and she's like throwing the freaking barrels over the wall and they got like the slave collars in them and stuff.
Mhm.
You can just see that she's like she's been on the upslope of being a badass, but I feel like this is like she's finally becoming a badass.
I love the scene where they send their champion out.
Oh,
and he's
so
like
good.
peeing all over the place,
Yeah.
and he's like trash talking, and then what's his face from the Haunting ofs on Netflix.
Yeah,
Yes.
Dario.
Yeah.
Oh, Dario.
What's he say about horses being like
he's
dumb or something?
She's like, you want a horse? Do you want a horse? He's
Sure,
like,
don't want a horse?
Why do I want a horse? And she's like, they're faster than men. And he's like, horses are dumber than men.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. And then he freaking flings his dagger right at the horse's eye.
Yeah.
It's such a good scene. Dude.
How bad would that have sucked if like the blunt end of the dagger just hit the horse and then he just like gets impaled by a javelin?
Yeah. Yeah, it's I love that scene. I also didn't appreciate there's armor in Elden Ring that looks very similar to that dude's armor that he's wearing on the horse. So I appreciated that a little bit more. But my favorite part of the scene is how he starts pissing at him afterwards. Like that, like so cool, dude.
Yeah.
Like loved it.
The Conquering of Slaver's Bay.
Yeah.
And it's interesting too, because like obviously Dany's doing this great thing freeing these people, right? But like some of her actions kind of come back to bite her in the butt.
Yeah.
And we also learn that maybe it's not necessarily something that everyone wanted.
Right.
Which is interesting, and it kind of creates a little bit of a not like rift, but like a little disagreement between the council there, where she's ruthless in her dishing out of justice, or what she thinks is justice, and Jorah and the other fella, I forget his name, are like, well, maybe we shouldn't like do that necessarily.
Yeah.
Well, it's such a great functional thing that they brought up when the one like teacher of he was a slave, but he was a teacher, and the kids loved him, and
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, basically like you made all the masters give up their slaves, so I'm kind of like homeless, have no job, and I really don't got anything to do in my life. So it's
Yeah.
like what a great like point. Like, great, you ended slavery for this group of people, but now they are basically worthless.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
They would prefer to have
And like he was
shelter.
protected. Like
Right.
he said the young people are like taking advantage of the older people. Not to make anyone who owns slaves like out to be a good person, but maybe not all of the slave owners were necessarily bad people /
Right.
mistreated their slaves or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's just
Yeah.
the notion of like this idea of like sweeping, like, hey, here's a new rule that applies to everyone. It's
Mhm.
like it doesn't quite work that easily, because she just came in, she's like, slavery bad. Yes, we all agree that's bad, but it is not the same like effect for everyone, because he's like, I'm old, like this is my life, like
Yeah, what else
what
am I
else am
gonna
I
do?
supposed to do? Like,
And he was doing like I don't know if
good
you said this
things.
exactly, but he was doing something valuable. Like he
Yeah.
was
Right.
teaching
Teaching the
younger
kids. Yeah.
kids
Yeah.
valuable information. But like then also the nailing of the slave owners to the posts.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Ruthless.
Rough.
Forgot how
Again,
ruthless she is through
yeah.
this storyline.
Yeah.
Not like not
Hmm.
siding with a slave owner, but like the guy's like, I just want to like bury my dad. Like, can
Well,
we
he
please
even
just
he even says like my dad like talked out against all of this,
Yeah.
and you hung him up there anyway.
Yeah.
So it just shows that she's got very tunnel focused on
Yeah.
her task here.
It's almost like society could take a lesson from Danny here and what it means to make sweeping generalizations
Right.
about specific groups of people.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Maybe you shouldn't do that. Just saying.
Yeah, it's just it's and this is also a typical like Game of Thrones thing where they're like, hey, we're gonna show you this thing where it's like, yeah, that makes total sense. Slavery, bad. But they're like, guess what? What if I told you it wasn't that bad for some people? And
Right.
they're taking this kind of like villainous archetype and saying, hey, it's actually not bad in this particular situation. Now how does that make you
Hey,
feel?
there's always an exception.
Yeah,
It's gonna make you
Yep.
feel uncomfortable.
Game of Thrones is just always exceptions. Like,
However, incest, never an exception for that. No, that's always bad.
hey, they're trying hard to make an exception.
Yeah.
They're really well. They were, and then season 4 came around, and they were
Honestly,
like, hey, Jamie.
dude, I honestly think that like it's really freaking odd for us today, but I don't think back then it's as odd as it is today. Like,
yeah,
I think it
'cause,
was
like-
pretty common back
Well, they're
then.
even like, Sansa, you're gonna marry your cousin Robin. And
Yeah.
they're just like, okay.
Yeah. And it was like a way to keep the bloodlines, even
he
though half
freezes.
of them probably went batshit. Oh, now I'm frozen
No, you're
again.
good. You're
No,
good.
we got you.
Oh, okay. Even though like half of the incest babies probably went crazy, even though their
Yeah.
bloodlines were pure, but I think it was a common thing back then.
Yeah.
You can read about it if you
It was a
want.
real, yeah, it was a real thing.
Yeah.
Just in general. So, people have all kinds of crazy ideas.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But we also get some negative impacts from the dragons.
Yes.
It's like
These
they're just hungry.
Yeah, first we're torching and eating goats, and then we're torching small children.
Right.
Not great.
I don't know.
Danny,
I don't know why, but dude, the scene where she locks him in the crypt is like it might be
Sad.
like the most gut wrenching scene to watch. I don't know why. They're like
Sad.
CGI dragons, but for whatever
Yeah.
reason, it just ate me up. Like they're like
Yeah.
screaming for her, and she's like,
because it's like those aren't the ones that were even messing up.
I'll never
she's
lock
bawling.
you in a dungeon,
Right.
Hobbs.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
sad.
the black dragon is still
Oh,
out
yeah.
there somewhere. The green and the red dragon are now captive in the catacombs.
Right.
Dracarys, or Dracarys? Is that how you say his name?
Dracarys is
Dracarys.
not the name of the dragon, I don't think. Isn't that what she says to make him spit fire? I'll look it up real quick.
Drogon?
Drogon is the name of the dragon, yes.
Oh, she just says that's
she
her
says
command to, like,
that's
burn.
the command to burn shit, yeah.
Yeah.
She should teach him
Drogon.
the don't like set small children ablaze command.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a little hard to do with
they
dragons,
set this
bro.
up when Jorah was like, you can't tame them. Like, when Drogon snapped at her.
Yeah.
It's like, got my face, woman. Like, I
So
know you.
Drogon is the big one. Rhaegal is the
Red.
is there like an orangish
There's
one?
orangish, red,
Yellowish.
and green. Yeah.
And then Viserion, I think, is the green one.
Green.
I might have swapped those ones actually, but those are the names.
Yeah, but I think the most shocking thing for me, at least, was Dany learning of Jorah's initial betrayal.
Kind of late.
Yeah,
We forgot about it as viewers. We're like, oh, that was a thing. Never mind.
Yeah.
But like immediate, just get the heck out of here. Like,
yeah,
you're banished, or else if you don't leave, I'm just gonna kill you. Basically.
Even Sir Harrison, like right off the rip, was like, "You're never gonna be alone with her again."
Yeah,
I'm like, damn,
rough.
like laying down the law.
Yeah.
Didn't even give him a chance to like explain himself. You know?
Yeah,
like,
or even like
he's totally changed since that.
He literally had the chance to watch you die, and save your life, dude. Did you forget about that?
But like she said, those assassins were only there because of him. So
right.
I mean, does
But
that
he could have just let him do the job?
Could have, or he could have just shut his mouth and not even had him there originally.
I think it's just like a harsh realization that like so much of her initial issues were because he was just repeating all the information back to Varys, and back to Robert and and King's Landing. Yeah. So she was like, so the entire first 3 seasons could have been better if you just shut up,
right,
and weren't here.
Yeah.
But what did they do to, like, I mean, other than the wine assassin, like, what did they do to impede anything she's done? Because everything they told Robert and Tywin, they're just like, okay, she's like across the sea.
Yeah.
Like, who could, dragons are a myth, and then once they learn about the dragons being reality, they're just baby dragons. Like, who cares? Yeah. They haven't even done, or at least, maybe I completely glossed over what they did, but in my opinion, they didn't really do anything other than that one assassination attempt. I
think that's really what it is. I don't think that outside of Robert's got like a I'm gonna kill every Targaryen ever thing going on because of what happened with with what happened with Ned's sister. That's the reason. But I don't think anybody else really sees her as a threat, because I think even Tywin, when he's talking to Joffrey about the dragons, and Joffrey's like, dude, like, maybe we should do something about these freaking dragons. He's like, the skulls used to be lined in this hallway. Like the first one was as big as like a carriage, but the last one was the size of a dog. Like, we don't need to worry about these dragons. They're going to be tiny little dragons. So I don't think she's not even a threat to them at this point. So you're right. But maybe in her mind,
well, I mean,
all the bad shit that's happened to her is because of Jorah. So, and
in her defense, I mean, assassins tried to kill her because of Jorah.
Right.
Which, even if that's the only thing, that's a pretty big thing.
Yeah. Definitely.
It still made my heart very sad because I love Jorah.
Yeah.
And he very clearly is devoted to the cause of Dany, and just straight up Dany. I mean,
right. Yeah.
I just can't stop thinking about all the things that. I just didn't think all these like arc pivots happened in season 4. Like, it just blows my mind. Because I'm like,
there's a lot.
What goes on with Jorah? Obviously, like Varys and Tyrion are like leaving King's Landing, right? And there's just Arya leaves. Like, season 4 just like splits so much, and that's where it is such a big thing that during the wedding, Joffrey's wedding, that was the last time so many characters were together because they just keep getting splintered and they're just
Right.
going all these places. So
Yeah.
I was definitely shocked in the second half of this season. I was like, wow.
Yeah,
And I
that's a good
completely
point.
forgot
Good point
that
for sure.
all this happens.
That and the deaths for me, I was like, geez, dude, I did not realize how many freaking people died in this season. But yeah, what we got? I think we pretty much.
yeah.
I mean, did we miss anything in Danny's? I mean, that's pretty much it.
Her stuff so far has just been like back burner and just about every season, very like
Right.
slowly progressing. But yeah, I mean, there's like a like, you know, relationship forming between Danny and I don't know her name, but like the slave
translator.
chick that
Or
she
Sandra or
yeah the
No,
translator
It's yeah.
Masandra?
It's something with an M.
but like they're
Masandra.
growing close.
Grey Worm.
Obviously he's getting, you know, some tinglies in places I don't think he's
got
he
some
could
phantom tingles.
Yeah. just like Ramsay wondered. He's like, so
it's true.
Yeah.
do phantom
Yeah.
limbs, like, do you sometimes
That's a
think
hilarious
it's there?
parallel. That is such a funny parallel.
But
I did
aside from
notice-
that stuff, and then like, you know, Barristan, what is it?
Barristan.
Being like a mega douche to Jorah.
I mean, I can't blame. I don't blame him at all. I would have done the same thing. I think he was. They've always been kind of butting heads for who should be like right next to her. You know what I mean? So of course he's going to take the opportunity
right.
to do so.
These ex-King Guards, like commanders, like Sir Barristan and then douchebag on the wall, like
yeah,
total opposites.
And then the latest one, is he still like Joffrey's main one? That dude is such a scumbag. Like, he's just got like a dark beard, round face, and
Like, he testified at the trial.
Yep.
That's
that
Marin Trant.
Oh yeah, that's one of the names.
That is one of the names because he is the one that allegedly killed what's his face, the Bravos sword dude,
the greatest swordsman that ever lived and ever
the greatest.
Greatest swordsman that never have a sword.
I love
I love that.
Speaking of like the list and stuff, back to Arya when like she wouldn't kill the one dude because he wasn't on the list yet and she didn't know his name to like say it.
Yeah, it was great.
And she just like pokes his heart and it's like blood squirting. I think that pretty much wraps up the Danny portion. It's not hasn't been large.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot. I think we covered everything then, yeah?
No.
Okay.
Answer the boys.
But first, Mike, we need to extend your don't watch while working list for season 5 to include episodes 8, 9, and 10. So please remember that. Episodes 8, 9, and 10 need to be focused forward. Okay?
Eyes open.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this moment for so long. I can't wait. I can't wait.
I just want season 6 finale to come already.
Yeah, that's up there, but we got to get this first, and this is good. Oh,
I'm about to go watch it right after this.
Yeah,
just the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Sadly, there are no Answer the Boys replies because it was just all me.
All you.
That was all you.
Yeah. Just me live reacting to the episodes in Discord.
Rip.
Yes.
Damn.
Yep, Joe, it's all your fault. I know Answer the Boys. I'm a terrible person.
He just
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Thanks, bro.
He even spoiler tagged one of them. It's great.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
So yeah, what do we do now? End?
Now we end, I think.
Mike, what
Nice.
do you think is happening next? Like, let's
talk
what
about
are you
that real
looking
quick.
forward? Like, where's
Let's
your
talk
head
about
at?
some characters. Where do you think we're going here?
Because we last left you with like, I'm done with this series. Like, I'm never like,
Yeah.
it's over.
Yeah. Spoiler
Answer
alert.
the question
I'm
first.
contractually obliged to finish the series, so
Yeah.
that was a lie.
Okay, answer the question first. Do you even like this show?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
it's good. I knew I was gonna like it. I just never had
Okay.
the means to watch it up until now.
Now you have like an abundance of means because you still have my
Yes,
Blu-rays.
I have the DVD set right here, and then
Yep.
I have an HBO Max account, so I
Yeah.
can just watch it all over the place.
Dude, what's up with the timings on some of the episodes? Like the Tyrion episode, the trial episode, it cuts out before he even says like I demand a trial by combat, or maybe like right
Weird.
after it or something. Yeah, like
I
the
didn't
timing
have
on 'em
any
is-
issues with that, but I've had issues with that on like I think mainly Hulu is the one that happens to me
Yeah.
on, where the like next episode prompt comes up.
Yeah, and it's like
with
so
like 5
challenging.
minutes left of the show.
Yeah,
Oh,
at
yeah,
least
no
on
problem.
HBO, it's kind of a pain in the ass to try and stop it from moving
Yeah.
to the next episode because
Yeah.
even if you fast forward it
That's
a little
weird.
bit, then it just fast forwards the little
The next
play button.
episode.
So it's like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
the hell is going on here?
Yeah. Joe says I've been really busy. That's what they all say. Good show tonight. Thank you. And I would love to hear what Mike thinks will happen. I think things
How does it end?
will continue to happen. The
Yeah.
entire series? We're halfway
Yeah.
through. I'm not making that prediction yet.
Yeah,
Oh,
make it right now.
You have to be betting for someone to sit like who like
Yeah, who's your
the whole
who's
point
your
of this show
allegiance?
is like who ends up on the Iron Throne.
It
Yeah.
ended.
With Rob. Come
Yeah.
on, bro. Rob's done. Get over it. There's got to be. You should be so mad that you want to follow somebody else now.
Yeah, you know what?
How wrong can one man be?
I've had my pivot, and I'm pivoting to I want Ramsay Bolton on the throne.
Oh gosh.
No, as far as who ends up on the throne, I don't know.
Jamie.
Not overly concerned with that at the moment, even though that's like the entire point of the show. I want to see what happens with Arya next because she's growing into one of my favorite characters, and she's heading over to our boy Enzo. Shout out Stranger Things. I love that character, so I want more of that. And Nick's like smirking / rolling his eyes, so I'm assuming something terrible happens to Arya.
That ship just sits at the episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just the missing dragon just flies over and shoots a massive fireball, and they all just burn alive and sink to the bottom of the ocean. I want to see what happens with Jorah, because I'm assuming he's probably not going to take that well.
It's a bender, real hard bender.
I'm so excited that Joffrey's dead, and now Tywin's dead, which was a kind of a bummer because even though he's kind of a douche, like Nick said, and
Great character.
Chad said, he's like an awesome character. I want to know, because I don't think they say where Tyrion and Varys are going.
They don't.
Nope.
So I want to see where the heck they're going and what the heck they're going to do. If I had my choice of who I would like to see on the throne at this point, probably Dany, because even though her sense of justice is a little extreme, she has a sense of justice.
Yeah.
So I feel like her reign might be fair and just, at least in her eyes, which may be not so much in the people of King's Landing.
Yeah,
and
I was
like
gonna
certain
say,
people.
I'm sure Joffrey thought that as well.
Yeah.
Kill
but-
them all.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see more of Brienne because I think that like her character is cool, and she's also like another like just character. I don't know. I like justice apparently, but she seems like a good, like good-hearted, like rightly motivated character.
Minus how ruthlessly terrible she is to her squire. But besides that, yeah, I get what you're
but
saying.
he's growing on her.
Yeah.
He's growing on her. And my boy Pod, gotta see some more Podrick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm just interested to see mainly where Arya goes and where Tyrion and Varys go, and like what Jorah is gonna do, because the love of his life banished him from like continuing to help and advise her. So those are the main things for me.
How do you feel about old Marjorie kind of like getting sweet on Tommen? You know what I mean? Like
Weird. Like the amount of uncomfortable like child situations in this show. Like there was a scene in previous season where like Sansa was like getting dressed or undressed. I'm just like, why are you showing this? She's supposed to be like 14 in the show. Like, stop it.
Yeah.
This is gross.
Well, yeah,
Stop
I mean, Dany is like 13 at the beginning of the show in the books. I don't know. They don't say her age in the show.
Yeah.
So if you think of everything that happens to her,
Khal Drogo don't
really
care.
screwed up. Yeah, he don't care at all. So no love for the White Walkers, huh? No interest in what the hell is going on there?
I don't know. I'm more invested in the like political stuff.
Oh, okay, cool.
He likes the prequels in Star Wars. He likes politics in space and in Westeros.
Yeah, well, you're gonna get plenty of it.
I like oops, I accidentally hit a button. I like the like fantastical stuff. It's been so low key throughout the series so far that it's just like, okay, yeah, I know that's happening, but like I'm heavily invested in all the other non-fantasy related stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure the White Walker stuff will be cool and I'll love it. I loved the like giants and the mammoth, like cool. That whole stuff was pretty rad. So, but like Bran's storyline, while is like a massive driving force of the series so far, is just so it's kind of like Dany, like such a little part of every episode. Yeah, I'm just like, okay, we got some more Bran stuff. Nothing like overly exciting is happening.
Yeah.
But I know it's all like necessary and important. I'm sure once those two, like I'm invested in Dany's stuff because there has been some pretty rowdy things going on.
Unsolid.
But I'm sure as like the Bran stuff like continues to pick up, that'll be really cool and I'll be really into it. But at this point I'm not like super into the north of the wall stuff.
Oh, that's a good question. Who does Mike think is wearing plot armor at this point? Who's plot armored up, Mike?
Obviously Tyrion, because he somehow managed to strangle a woman who is like 4 times his size and then managed to get a crossbow high off a wall somehow.
Yeah.
He should have died like 4 times.
I think you said Joffrey for the plot armor last season.
Yeah, well, he probably wishes he had some.
You were like, yeah, you were like down in the depths of the Red Wedding when you made that comment. So
I hate everything.
So at this point, I still think Tyrion will be wearing the plot armor. Bran will be wearing the plot armor, and Dany. Those are the 3.
Okay.
That I don't think will die.
It's a decent amount of plot armor for a show.
This is my stance at the end of halfway through the show. I think those 3 characters will make it to the end because they have so far the largest role in the 3 main like arcs that are happening.
Yeah, that typically ends badly in the show, unfortunately.
I know, but I'm holding true. I'm holding true.
Okay.
You're not Team Stannis? No love for Stannis,
yeah,
boy?
We didn't even talk about Stannis at all. He didn't have a lot going on here.
He just goes to Bravos, asks for money.
That's because Davos does everything for him.
Yeah,
that's true. He just sucks. And then Davos is like, we got to do something.
Yeah.
Red Lady's like, yeah, but not that. But then again, let's do that because the fire said so. Right. And then we're going to get this mysterious note and we'll be like, dude, actually, that's like the one thing that like bugs me a little bit is like she's so like has a hard on for like Stannis. We must do all this because the Lord wills it. And then they get a letter from like Maester from the Black
wall.
from the wall, and they read it and she's just like, huh, we must go north.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never
I think
mind everything else. Like, this is your destiny.
I think it shouldn't bother you. I think it's there on purpose because it gives you the thought that she might be a little bit of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Even though we're
right.
seeing her do all this seemingly crazy shit,
She even
might be a
admits that
little
to Stannis' wife in the bath scene.
Yeah.
She's
Yep.
like, that makes men think this, and this makes the fire do that, and it gets them to where we need them to be.
Yeah,
Right.
and then I can have these crazy ink squid demon babies that stab people.
She's definitely very much like a means to an end kind of person. Like, as long as the end is all right, right? We're cool with everything that happened in between.
Yep.
Stannis, me and you, that was right. You know, the shadow baby, that was a little weird, but you know,
Hey,
we're getting stuff done.
the job done.
Killed your brother. No big deal.
But we do need to touch on Stannis because he effectively saves the
so weird
the wall because
Kind of.
they have this huge battle, but it's only like a very small percentage of the wildlings that attacked. And
But
Jon Snow's like, here, they're gonna attack again. Like that was like barely anybody. So we do need to touch on that. Jon Snow goes north of the wall to try to negotiate with Mance Rayder. It's going okay, maybe.
Yeah,
but they're
it's
getting
definitely
to
happening.
the point.
Right.
I just feel like the Stannis thing was just so out of left field, literally out of the left of like the field. Like he just came like with all
literally,
forces.
literally out of the left of the field. Yeah,
and it's just like, oh, this is happening. Like you're just gonna insert your big Stannis like dorkness into what's happening up here.
Yeah,
where everything's like kind of sensible. You got Jon, you got like King north of the wall. Like we have like some history there, and then just big white dude from like south, like hi horses.
Yeah,
stuff.
I think it needed to happen though because they were clearly going to overwhelm the wall without a doubt. You know, the Night's Watch is already, you saw all of them dead at the end there. They lost a tremendous amount of men, so it needed to happen because like we're not ready for the Night's Watch to fall, right? So I think it makes perfect sense. So they're with the wildlings. I think Stannis's plan is to get them as part of his army, right? That's why he went there. Yeah,
more or less. Like I think that's part of the idea is like he needs I think off screen, like that is what was pitched to him. Like we need to wrestle whatever's happening in the north here, because that will help our case in the south,
right?
Because right now the Boltons are just kind of like doing their thing, and they're kind of like wresting control of the north, and there's really just like the wall and the wildlings. So it seems like kind of like a tactical move spun in a very red lady kind of way. Like let's just go north and just see what we can kind of get done up there.
Yep.
Because now thinking forward, that plays into a lot of stuff. Like it makes sense, like as it goes on. But watching it, like forgetting that happens, you're like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we do have to leave that. We do have to bring that up because the Stannis stuff and all that's gonna play into season 5 quite a bit. So,
but I still can't believe Stannis isn't Mike's favorite character. Like the dude is just so invigorating. Like
yeah, and just
so
the fact
dynamic.
that he hates doing the show, it makes it even better. the fact that he has no idea what's going on in the plot whatsoever.
So it's magic or is there not magic? What's happening?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do I get to see the red lady naked or not?
Yeah. Bobs or no?
Bobs today? No Bobs today. Gotcha. Horses.
Right on. Well, I think that wraps up the episode tonight. Yeah,
it does. Yep.
Nice. So
halfway.
What do we got
Over
going
halfway.
on? This isn't a news. Is this a newscast week? This is
it
a
is
newscast week. So
the
Monday night
after Game of Thrones.
Yep. Monday night, tune in for the newscast. Next week, I believe we will be having a What's Playing episode, which will be fun. I have a fun topic cooking up for that I needed to talk to you guys about. But I have a good idea for it. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, make sure you tune in. Comment, let us know what your favorite parts of season 4 were, how incredibly wrong my predictions are going to be moving forward. No spoilers though. Subscribe here on YouTube, Showboys Podcast. Head over to our gaming page, Showboys Gaming. Subscribe over there. We're continuing to pump out series over there, gaming stuff. Check that out. And also, we got this website, dude. Visit showboysmedia.com. You can find, it's like your one-stop shop for all of our podcast episodes. We got the YouTube videos. We have audio. We have a gaming page with some of our recent gaming stuff. We have a blog where we're writing reviews and things like that. We have, the merch store. We have everything that we have this lovely black page that is loading forever. Yeah, it's your one place where you can get everything. We don't need Linktree anymore. Why? Because everything is here on showboysmedia.com. So go check it out.
Look at that.
Yeah, we got this lovely review of Detroit Become Human, which was super fun to write, and the game was super fun to play. Go check that out. But yeah, other than that, Joe says he liked I hate trying to say her name, so I'm just gonna say Jon Snow's lady. Yeah, she was cool, and I'm kind of sad she died.
Grit.
Yep.
Yeah, we sure breezed over that. I don't even think we talked about it. To be honest,
We should have stayed in that cave, Jon Snow. Nothing. That's what happened.
He's like, yeah, probably should have, huh?
Right. Yeah, sounds like it. And that's the second instance of that similar line where he basically alludes to like, yep, should have just died. Like, should have just like not been here. Like that would have been better than whatever's going on. He had a couple of those.
She does look like Aloy.
Oh, she does, yes.
Big time.
Dude.
I guarantee that she was a inspiration for Aloy.
Yeah. Hey, you know what else is going to be on our website?
Oh, what the frick? Yeah, she's Aloy.
Yeah, dude. Man. She's got the red hair, the big furry jacket. I don't know why I said big furry jacket, but you know what else is going to be on our website though?
Why don't you tell
a place
us,
where you can find all of our stream team members like BioCiv and Peace Love Ames and Ugly Kid Joe Cross. You'll be able to find links to all their streaming platforms. Sadly, it's not on there right now, but it will be. Anyways, BioCiv just made me think of that. But yeah, enough rambling on. We're gonna get out of here. So see you guys later.
See ya.
Monsters are dangerous, and just now, kings are dying like flies.
I am the king!
Fuck the king. Knowledge is power.
Joffrey, Cersei, Walder Frey, Meryn Trant, Tywin Lannister.
Grand grandfather. Tell me about the Targaryen girl and her dragons.
The skull of the last of them was right here. It was the size of an apple.
The biggest was the size of a carriage.
When you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die.
Dracarys.
Afraid of a dead horse?
The Red Woman, Eric Dondarrion, the Russ of Mir, feeling pain, the mountain.
Would you shut up?
The Hound.
And now their watch is ended.
I may or may not have started a Twitter beef with Nexpo today.